You're strapped in to a live radio broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
Just about everyone and their dog has a website or uses a domain name like yourname.com. Thanks to our partnership with GoDaddy, the leader in hosting and domain name registration, we can offer all our listeners big savings on everything GoDaddy offers. Go to purerockradio.net/GoDaddy for a full list of coupon codes to save on hosting your website, registering your domain name, and much more. You can even switch to GoDaddy anytime to start saving, and our coupon codes will never expire. Every time you use one of our coupon codes, it benefits you, Pure Rock Radio, and all the shows we carry. So thanks for visiting purerockradio.net/GoDaddy today. Try coupon code POD167 to save 10% off your GoDaddy purchases today.
Welcome to the Used Bin. All music, all the time. What are you listening to? Used Bin Radio. And welcome into the Used Bin, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night. We're so glad you could join us. Hey! We just hope you're hearing us right now. We may be having some technical issues. We're not sure. But give us a call. Let us know if you're actually hearing this.
And if not, call us anyway.
Call us anyway. So here's the deal. It's the Used Bin, our regular Tuesday night adventure in foray into all things music. We want to know what you've been listening to. We're going to tell you what we've been listening to. And later this evening, we have a very special guest this evening. Tell the good folks about it, Brother Man.
We've got Kurdt VANDERHOOF of Presto Ballet.
Presto Ballet.
Formerly of Metal Church. At least I think formerly of Metal Church.
Formerly of Metal Church.
But I don't know if Metal Church is sort of on hiatus, or I don't know what their deal is. But either way, we'll talk to Kurdt about it, and we'll get a heads up. They've got a new EP out, and what's it called? I Love What You've Done with the Place.
I love what you've done with the place.
Can't wait. And I'm a big fan of Presto Ballet. Both Joe and I are, you know. We talk about it all the time. We talk a lot about the B-sides.
The Presto Ballet B-sides are very important to this show. So
they are.
We'll have to invoke the B-sides when we talk to Kurdt.
Without question.
Yes.
But that's a good thing. We've been we had Kurdt scheduled for the earlier in the month, and that's when we took our unannounced 2-week break.
That's right.
So we've rescheduled Kurdt, and we're happy to have him back in the bin.
We're back on track now. So before we talk to Kurdt, we'd love to talk to you, and what you need to do is just dial 888-405-7440 and join the show. Let us know what's on your mind, what you've been listening to, been to any good shows lately, all that, or drop us an email.
At usedbinradio@usedbin.com. Join our cult of personality.
Yes.
So to speak.
We got a text coming in. I'm just hoping this is going to confirm that we're on the air right now.
We're good to go.
We're good to go, ladies and gentlemen. We're good to go.
All clear.
Okay. You hear us. You really hear us.
It's okay, Joe. I hear you.
Okay.
That's all that really matters.
So, and we just heard some Ligabooey. But
Dude.
actually, the listeners didn't. But before the show, Brad and I were just listening to a little Ligabooey. If you don't know about Ligabooey, I guess you got to go YouTube it to find out what the phenomenon's about. But
the live Ligabooey.
The live Ligabooey. Yeah, my brothers were in Italy last week for a Ligabooey concert. Which, if you're scratching your head going, what is that? Well, 120,000 people know exactly what that was about, because he's an
up-and-coming guy.
Up-and-comer. Yeah, he's filling stadiums all throughout Europe, but not here, folks.
Is it all throughout Europe, or just Italy, or is
that's a good question, actually. That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's all throughout Europe, but
it's so funny to think that there's these
megastars that we don't know,
and megastar 120,000 people. That's a huge deal.
That's Springsteen. That's the Stones.
But I wonder if that's just if that's in a contained area, small container, or is it all over Europe, or what the deal is?
Could be, but there's English-speaking folks who are just that big that we don't know about here either.
Sure.
I mean, I remember the first time. Now we're way off topic, but I remember the first time that I heard about the Corrs. They had just put something out. I want to say on Atlantic. or the David Foster imprint of Atlantic, whatever that was,
Right.
like 531 or something like that, 512. It was something like that. And I had never heard of them before. I thought they were just some 4-piece pop group from Ireland, which is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're playing in Ireland, they're playing to sold-out stadiums. They came to L.A. and they played the House of Blues.
Right.
They filled it, but it was pretty much all an Irish contingent who came out of the woodwork to see him.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
They had a hit here.
Well, they had several minor hits
brothers
here.
and sisters.
Yes, that's right. It's 3 sisters and their brother
Right.
are the band.
It's all. It's all groovy. It's just strange to me that there's like who here in America could do stadiums or whatever, but not do that there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember in the 80s finding it amazing to me that Van Halen was not a headliner in Europe, that they were opening act while they were riding on Diver Down in 1984. They were opening for AC/DC at festivals and things like that. So it's interesting to see how it translates. I remember
Still trying to think though, who here in America is a stadium act on their own?
That's not over there.
That's.
I'll bet you Dave Matthews maybe doesn't translate globally the way he does here.
Well, that may be. What was the Dead? The Dead was big in Europe.
Dead was big everywhere.
Yeah. Just strange.
It's interesting, to think about that. I mean, I remember seeing.
We don't have a ton of stadium acts here anyway.
No, they're mostly English, right?
English. Yeah, it's true. I mean, who here can? I don't know. Many acts that can fill a stadium here. Many acts that can do a stadium here. American acts that can fill stadiums here. Now that I think about it,
not a ton. Maybe Fish, and I'll bet they don't translate well.
I don't even know if Fish could do. I mean, you think Fish could do the Rose Bowl?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe
it's
not.
Very. That's
an interesting question.
That is an.
I've told you
question.
the story about how back in 86, 87, whatever it was, I saw Marillion. They played the Roxy here in Los Angeles, but they were playing Wembley.
Yeah,
they were playing Wembley over there. So
it's always been,
it doesn't always translate.
Yeah. Well, I think that Europeans have always been much more open-minded musically.
Yeah.
So and they certainly have embraced their acts a lot more than here, which is why I think why it's so important for all those acts to break here.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to break here because you sort of want what you can't have.
Yeah.
Then you want to crack the nut. It's tough.
Yeah, so I guess the point of all is go to YouTube and check out Ligabooey. And we got somebody on the phones.
Early in the show, we have phone calls. So who would this be in the used bin?
Hello.
Hey, who's this?
It's Darren.
Oh, Darren, what's up?
Hey, Darren, how are you?
You don't sound like your normal self tonight.
Do I sound better now?
No, you know what? You just didn't sound like you. You sounded actually
like Ligabooey.
No, you sound like you have a little cold, actually.
Well, I don't know what I got. I've had it for a while.
You okay?
Oil of oregano. Yeah, oil of oregano seems to help.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
That's a good tip.
All right. Chicken soup. That's what we always
Chicken
used to
soup.
use.
Chicken soup. It's all about the soup.
It's about the soup. It's what we do. What are you up to, Darren?
Yes, I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at.
What's going on, man? What are you up to?
Nothing much. By the way, Mick Jagger's 68 today, speaking of the Rolling Stones.
Wow. And he's probably getting ready for another tour. He'll probably be touring well into his 70s.
He put together a little super group.
Oh, did he?
Outside of the Stones, yeah.
Mick Jagger and a super group.
Super heavy, right?
Yeah, super heavy. That's right. Who's in that band? Damian Marley's in that band, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics, I think.
Right.
Too.
And
Joss Stone.
Joss Stone. That was the other one I couldn't think of. It's a that's odd
unusual.
Group.
That's an unusual mix. I don't know if it's for me, but I'll check it out once.
I'm going to go on a limb and say it's not going to be very heavy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Not heavy in like the musical sense, but maybe like in the
star power sense.
Yeah, in the star power sense.
I guess I'm interested for sure.
Or the philosophical sense.
It's going to be a Jagger R&B record.
Yeah.
That's what
that would be great for him. That's great.
And there's no genre. Jagger said in an interview that iTunes wouldn't know where to put that album if it's pop or R&B or whatnot. Undefined.
Undefined. I like it. Well, it's interesting.
That makes me nervous.
It's interesting because a lot of times things are. Well, maybe this is a different topic, but things are just misclassed. Like when you put a CD in your computer and you rip it. I always find it interesting. What genre it puts it under.
Yeah.
Because I've had prog CDs that come up and say everything from country to jazz to pop.
Yeah.
And
folk
and metal things that say pop, and it's just a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get. I wonder what Ligabooey would be under. Anyway, so what else is going on, Darren?
Springsteen.
Nothing much. I've been listening to more Ben Mink stuff.
Oh, yeah? You're on the kick, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was listening to his solo album, which was another one of those that got lost.
Yeah, that's long out of print. In fact, after we talked to you last week about Ben Mink, I was doing a little research and found that the Ben Mink solo album actually gets quite a price when it pops up on eBay these days.
Yeah, foreign exchange, right, Joe?
That's right.
Yeah. And it's really good. I mean, it's like someone noted on here that the album can be seen as a predecessor to both his work with Katie Lang and influence on later artists such as Bella Fleck and Dave Matthews, which I'm a fan of both those guys.
Me too. Absolutely. That's pretty cool.
So, I'll just say this. There's been rumors the Stones are going to tour next year for their 50th anniversary.
Right.
But not that I really care or anything like that, but I think that if Keith Richards didn't make that comment about Mick Jagger's
privates,
about his wiener,
they'd probably go on tour right now because apparently that stung Jagger a lot.
I have to be look, I don't think, honestly, I can't imagine that at this point in their career and in their lives that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for Jagger.
Yeah, they've been through a lot worse over 50 years than that.
Seriously.
So.
I mean, 2 words for you. Brian Jones. And if that's not going to rip that band apart, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But my favorite Keith Richards line of all time about Jagger is when Jagger put out a solo record and it was really bad, and they asked Keith Richards what he thought of it. He said, "She's not very good without me now, is she?" Yeah. He said, "She's not very good without me now, is she?" That's my favorite Keith Richards line of all time.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say that you're going to quote where he said it. There was dog shit in the doorway.
I didn't hear that one, but that's funny.
That's good.
The doorway. Yeah.
They're so weird, those two. But, whatever. I mean, at this point...
The weirdness is what keeps it going.
But do the Stones need to really tour again? Like, do you need a Stones tour?
I don't, but, it'll fill stadiums no matter what they do.
Because it's a huge production. But it's at that point to me, it feels very much like a cash grab. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel very genuine as far as anything else goes. So I don't really need that. However, on the other hand, like an Aerosmith tour now doesn't feel like that at all.
No, this is the time.
This feels
strike while the American iron is hot.
But this feels like a real I get the feeling this could be a real tour. It really isn't about the money with Aerosmith. I get the feeling they want to get out there and be a little creative.
Yeah.
So I'm in.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And so last night, I was listening to a John Anderson interview on Goldmine Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like a live webcast, and you could participate. And I was going to ask him a question about Rush if he liked them, and never got an answer. Yeah, I know. I mean, Getty talks about John as an influence, so why not hear it the other way, right?
Sure. Is this a new interview? This was live last night?
Yeah, it was.
Anything insightful? Did he comment on the current state of Yes or anything like that?
Well, after I heard the interview, I have a lot more respect for the guy, to tell you the truth, because when I read in Rolling Stone when he was interviewed and he gave his thoughts on being fired from Yes,
right,
and the fact that the band had no empathy towards John whatsoever when he went sick. I just had to shake my head, because he's an important, integral member of the group.
Absolutely.
And it's like they just don't give a shit, I don't know. I mean, I heard his new album, Survival and Other Stories, which is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And he seems to be now doing the festival circuit. Like, he played Vancouver Island recently, where I used to live.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know he was there, and I thought, man, I could have seen that, but...
I have to tell you, though, from my understanding, Darren, and Joe and I have talked a little bit about this, is that I'm not exactly sure that John Anderson was fired from Yes because he was sick. I get the feeling, and I this is totally unsubstantiated, but I do get the feeling, and I've heard from some other people, that there's some politics going around in that band that are certainly not... that do not include the fact that they're firing John because he's sick.
Right. The fact that he was sick, and tickets had actually gone on sale. I'm going back about 5 or 6 years now. Tickets had actually gone on sale for a Yes tour with John, and the basically the lineup that they had together in the end of the 90s. And tickets had gone on sale for, I want to say it was like a 2004, 2005 tour.
Right.
And and that's when John got sick, had to pull out of it. They were going to delay the dates for a while, which they did, and then they ended up scrapping the tour. And it was just a couple of months after that they announced that they were going to be working with a replacement singer from Yes tribute band, who's Benoit David, who's been with them now for a few years. But it seemed to me that there was more going on than just the illness. There's clearly been politics between him and Chris Squire for many, many years. Maybe some kind of power play for whose band it really is, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I think Chris Squire, when we had him on the show a few weeks ago, he put it in pretty good perspective when he said there's been so many personnel changes in Yes over the years. I mean, they've had like 6 different keyboard players, like 3 or 4 different guitar players, different drummers. Pretty much everybody has changed places. They've even had a couple of singers now, if you count the Trevor Horn drama years. So, yeah, I agree with you. He's absolutely an integral and essential part of what I consider to be classic Yes. But, I don't fault the guys for wanting to get out on the road at this point. And we've all heard the record at this point. I didn't think it was terrible.
That's very good.
It's got some good stuff going on for it. So this is the current chapter. I'm just hoping maybe the next chapter sounds something a little bit more familiar.
You could argue, Darren, too, that, I mean, the fact that John Anderson isn't in the band and like Joe had mentioned, all these personnel changes, that John Anderson's replacement may be the most essential, and most the replacement that's the most out in front with replacing John Anderson. However, I just get the feeling that this isn't a permanent thing. And I remember Anil Prasad said to us when we had him on the show, he said, Yes is the most political band you'll ever hear, that you'll ever find. So there's a lot more going on there than meets the eye, I think, for sure.
Well, I'm sure there is. It's just, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it was handled with any empathy towards anybody. I don't know. I could be wrong. You guys probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah, could be. Could very well be.
We'll see how it plays out next year. Yeah, this is it could just be this year's lineup. And next year we'll get a whole different situation. I mean, in the past we've seen that happen from the Trevor Rabin period of 90125 up until Union and Talk. It was like they were changing lineups every album for a while there.
Dude, Yes is like a cockroach. They just don't. They're not going away.
They're not going away.
They're not going away.
They're not going away. So. In fact, I remember an interview sequence on one of the home DVDs where Chris Squire actually said, "I can envision a Yes long after we're gone." So
sounds like Kiss.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like a Gene Simmons line. Isn't that what Gene Simmons said?
Yeah.
All right, Darren.
Okay, fair enough.
Thanks.
Right. No, I appreciate your perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one, man. Thank you very much for the call, Darren. We appreciate it. Feel better, dude.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Chicken soup.
Very nice.
All right. Well, yeah, as Elvis Costello would say, Yes is just this year's model.
Yeah. And Amy Winehouse is not.
You want to get into that?
Yeah, for a minute. I guess everybody knows, by now that she's gone. Were you surprised when you heard about it? And where were you when you heard about it?
Actually, Leah told me. I was just doing stuff around the house, and she turned around and said, Amy Winehouse is dead. Was I?
Did it faze you when she said those words?
Of course, yeah. I was surprised, but not shocked.
Yeah.
So I was surprised because, well, let's put it in perspective. She's a 27-year-old woman who, who's obviously very troubled, and that's the sad part of it. If you take the music out of it, she's a very young lady, and so that part of it is very sad. And she was very talented. The incredible thing is she only put out 2 records, and I really liked the last record. I thought it was excellent, and it's a shame that she just couldn't quite get it together. And again, 27, man, 27 is just young, and that's I guess that's the bummer of it all. So I understand the outpouring of sentiment towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were down in San Diego for Comic-Con, and a little later I'll tell you all about that and what went on down there. But that's where we heard about it. In fact, Kim was the one who turned to me with her, BlackBerry in hand or cell phone in hand,
or whatever you call that.
One of those little devices where you people communicate with each other. And she said Amy Winehouse is dead, and obviously it's sad, but it didn't strike me as a revelation. It just struck me as like, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I guess, you know what, I haven't really thought about Amy Winehouse. To me, she's been so tabloid for so long that it's just sort of, Amy Winehouse is in trouble again. Amy Winehouse is caught smoking crack again. Amy, whatever. But then you get to the dead part and you go, oh, that's pretty final.
Yeah.
She's not going to be in the tabloids anymore.
There's no farewell tour.
Yeah. It's interesting, the 27 Club, I guess they call it, right? Or all the artists that have died at 27. Have you looked at all these?
Is this the Janis Joplin?
Let me tell you who, and this is eerie. However, I'm not one to believe in there's any connection. I find it to be strictly coincidental. Eerie nonetheless. Let me tell you who's died at 27.
Okay.
Brian Jones, dead at 27. Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
Janis Joplin. Jim Morrison.
Wow, 27.
Kurt Cobain.
Wow.
And then you get some of the lesser superstars, right? Robert Johnson, dead at 27. Rudy Lewis from the Drifters died of a drug overdose at 27. Alan Blind Owl Wilson, who was a singer for Canned Heat, dead at 27.
Wow.
Pigpen from the Grateful Dead, 27.
Wow, he was 27.
Dave Alexander, bassist for the Stooges, dead at 27. Pete Ham, Badfinger.
Wow, Pete Ham was 27.
Dead at 27.
When he strung himself up in the garage.
Mm-hmm. Bass player from Hole, which was Kristen, I'm going to butcher her last name, Pfaff, I guess it is, Pfaff, died at 27. And here's one, Richie Edwards from Manic Street Preachers. Officially was pronounced dead, in 2008, but gone missing and not heard from again at 27.
Right. I told you about with that the Manic Street Preachers. They maintained an escrow account with all of his royalties because they never believed that he was really dead.
Yeah.
That's quite a list.
Jeremy Michael Ward, who was in the Mars Volta, died at 27. And now Amy Winehouse. It's a nutty list if you think about it. Like I said, I'm not one to believe in that sort of thing. I think it's purely coincidental. However, eerie nonetheless.
A lot
of people.
Wow.
What is it about 27, you wondered? I was thinking, you think about all these freaking rock stars, right? That come on, dude. The guys in Motley Crue.
Yeah, they should have.
Ozzy Osbourne.
By rights, they should have. They should have bought the farm a long time ago. Not that I'm wishing anything, but with all they've been through, if we had heard that Vince was in a drunken car wreck or something, it wouldn't be a shock.
Nikki Sixx, if he were, God forbid, to have died of a drug overdose, none of us would be, you wouldn't be shocked. You'd be surprised but not shocked, right?
If Tommy Lee, contracted a fatal STD, I wouldn't have been shocked.
Have you seen the anyway? But again, that puts in perspective the Amy Winehouse thing, which is why I say that's the bummer of it all, because you look at some of these guys with their long drug history. Fuck, dude, read the dirt.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you look at Amy Winehouse, 2 records, no catalog of music, dead.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. What is it about 27? I guess that's the age where...
That's the age.
It's the age where your body either gives out or it gets its second wind.
Yeah. Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. We also received some interesting emails over the last couple of days. One of which was from who is this from? Mary Mejia,
Ah, yes.
who listens to our show and was listening the night when we were kicking around Darren's topic of Ben Mink. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, I had mentioned that I believed Ben Mink was one of only 2 people, Amy Mann being the other, who have recorded with Rush on a Rush album. And she sent me an email and said that she thought Pi Dubois also might have been in that illustrious group.
True or false?
False.
Okay.
It was a good call, Mary, and I know where you're going with this. Pi Dubois was the poet / lyricist for Max Webster.
Right.
And his work appears on Rush Records, but he didn't record. He provided lyrics. And we all think of, Neil as writing all the lyrics for Rush, with the exception of the Retzi years, of course.
Of course.
But since then, he's written essentially all the lyrics for Rush ever since the Fly By Night album, with the exception of 3 songs that were co-written by his buddy Pi Dubois from Max Webster.
Bring it.
Little song called Tom Sawyer.
Heard of it.
Little song called Force 10. And Between Sun and Moon.
Excellent.
He also may have contributed to Test for Echo. We're not really sure how that plays out.
Maybe Dog Years?
Possibly Dog Years. But since then, he has been the lyricist for, I guess, all the Max Webster stuff and most of the Kim Mitchell solo stuff. But he's essentially just a poet and lyricist, so it was a good try. Play our home game again next week, Mary.
That was good. That's good. Tom Sawyer. God, I hope they play that live.
I hope they play that.
God, they never play that.
And since we're on the topic of Neil, this is as good a time as any to bring up interesting little news story that popped up today. If you've always been curious of what it would be like seeing worlds collide, like members of Rush and the Police and Tool, Danny Carey, and Primus.
Yes.
Well, you needn't wonder anymore, because apparently there was a project, and it was filmed, where Neil, Danny Carey, Les Claypool, and Stuart Copeland, along with a couple of other people, all got into one studio for a jam. And if you go to neilpeart.com, you can find a video for a song called Count Drumula. And the only lyrics in the song, as far as I could discern, were 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are actually the lyrics.
Right.
And it's a quirky little percussive little number that kind of sounds like somewhere between Zappa and Primus.
Just sounds to me like those guys just got in a room and decided to play.
Yeah.
And they filmed it, and then they went, all right, this is pretty cool. And then they edited it, and then it looks kind of neat.
But for the Rush contingent, the Tool, Primus, and Police contingent, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
Go to neilpeart.com and look for Count Drumula.
Now, this was all done at Stuart Copeland's home studio.
That's right.
That's right. And to me, half of the fun was just looking at the room.
Yeah, looking at the room
is really neat.
Just looking around the room, seeing all those guys in one place, because we're just not used to seeing Neil playing with other people.
No, but it is great to see Neil in full Peart mode, which is like no expression on the face and very serious, while the other guys seem to be kind of, just like, this is fun, we're all in the same room together. Yeah. Neil is in Peart mode.
Yeah.
No expression.
Although it was really weird to see him playing the first part of the song. He was playing on his drums standing.
Yeah.
I'm not used to seing him playing standing. That's like a Jellyfish Andy Sturmer thing.
I do love watching Stuart Copeland play, though. He plays that with that traditional style, the one-hand traditional. It's just great. Right. That guy's such a bad boy when it comes to drumming.
Boy.
He is, man. That guy's he is a master. I love that. I love watching Stuart Copeland play. But it's very odd. It's just a funny thing. I wonder when that was filmed. Like, you and I were talking about this earlier. I can't quite place the timing of it all, unless it's brand new.
It's got to be within, if not the last couple of days, definitely the last couple of months. I'm thinking maybe it took place during the break between the first and the second leg of the Time Machine tour, but it could be even more recent than that.
Yeah, just wacky to me. It's
nuts.
Fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neil is all over the place these days. He's a new man.
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't
that the truth? He's embracing his
inner Peartness.
Which
is great.
Yeah, and making it his outer Peartness.
Any chance he ever shows up at an awards ceremony or anything?
No,
I go no on that. Yeah, that'd have to be a big no on that. Thank you very little. But yeah, fun to see nonetheless, like you said. Glad you pointed that out.
Since you're talking about drummers at award ceremonies, this is probably as good of a time as any to mention this. Phil Collins, who has officially retired from music right now, he had to be helped out of it was the Mojo Awards ceremony where he was going to present an award to Ringo Starr. And we've all heard the stories about how, Phil has suffered nerve damage and very sad. Apparently can't even hold his drumsticks, no less play, because his grip isn't there anymore right now. But he was at this award ceremony to present Ringo with an award. He had to be helped out because he suffered a massive nerve damage attack.
What does that mean?
I don't even know what that means, but they had to carry him out of there. And he later made a statement that said, and this is just so sad, he said, "I'm on my last legs. I couldn't come back to music with all these aches and pains even if I wanted to. I just can't do it anymore." And then this is sort of sour grapes. He ended with the statement, "I actually don't even like music anymore. I don't listen to much music."
See, now this is my question though.
It's very sad.
Is this real? I mean, do I believe he was removed from this ceremony? I guess I do, but it just seems like there was that whole article. Remember where he came across as such a prick, talking about music, and this was right after the surgery, and he was just bitter. He seemed to be bitter at his fans. He seemed to be bitter at everybody. But then he retracted half of it. Remember, he said that I never said any of that.
Well, I think a lot of the statements were taken out of context, particularly about his fascination with the Civil War. I don't know if you remember.
I do
specifically.
Yeah.
He's a collector of Civil War memorabilia and artifacts and that kind of thing. And some of the articles I read had him painted him as deranged, like he thought he was living in the Civil War. And so part of that, I understand why he had to retract, and part of it sounded like it was more tongue in cheek because he has always.
But I feel like I don't know what to believe anymore about what's really going on with this guy, and not that I guess it really matters. I mean, if he's ill, then obviously that's too bad, and I hate the fact that he can't play music anymore, and that he's having these whatever a nerve attack is. But I just don't know what to believe anymore. Something about it feels a tad bit suspicious.
Yeah, no, I buy that. And as a fan, I find it really, really sad and kind of shocking too. But
sure, he was in such great health on that Genesis tour.
That was 2007. I mean, that wasn't that long ago.
What happened between then and now?
Don't know. But
that's what's interesting.
I remember shortly after that when he was making his Motown record. That's when it really all started happening because he was finishing up the record and he was in his statements and online and everything, he was talking about how he had to tape the sticks to his hand so that he could finish up certain tracks, and that's when it was all starting to happen,
starting to unravel.
Yeah,
it just seems like I said. I hope he's okay. I mean, it's Phil Collins, for God's sakes, but he just seems to be a bitter guy. I get these weird things that come out like that, like I don't even listen to music anymore. And remember how bitter
he's certainly bitter.
Do you remember there was this is a while ago now too, but I'm going back. But you had read to me something on his website. I think this is even before the show started. He had there was some stuff on his website about what songs people wanted him to play or something, and he was just bitter at everybody. I'm going to play this and I want to play that, and people ripping him for it was a solo tour.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he just came across as an asshole.
Yeah, well, he's been very vocal in the last couple of years about how he's really saddened by what his name has become and the legacy. He always thought he was doing good pop work, but I guess because he straddled the fence for so long between the Genesis world and the pop world that you can't please all the people all the time, but it became more and more apparent that his heart was really in one and not in the other.
But that's the thing. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, but it creates a lot of bitterness with the fans.
But I get the feeling though that if he was comfortable being in that place, then he wouldn't come across like such a prick. He would say, "Look, this is just sort of where I'm at. I don't hate Genesis. I don't hate anything. This is where my head is at, and I appreciate this, that, and the other thing, and blah 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 blah. But this is where I'm at." Instead, he's just, "Fuck you. This is what I'm doing."
Yeah,
like I don't. Like a grumpy old man.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's very grumpy now.
What does he have to be so grumpy about?
I think he just
He's had a pretty good life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call me nuts, but
although he's been through a lot of bad marriages.
yeah, well, so he's his picker's broken.
Yeah.
So when it comes to women, but still, I mean, the guy's had it pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's just he just always seems to be very bitter about the way his musical career is remembered, and how he feels, maybe even more so than is true. He feels like he's the butt of jokes.
So weird to me, but
he doesn't have a very thick skin.
No, apparently not. He was so genuinely, well, at least it came across extremely genuine, gracious. At the end of that Genesis tour that we saw, he came across so genuine in telling the guys he loved them and he loved playing with Genesis, and how just he looked genuinely thrilled to be there.
Yeah.
And thrilled that he got through the tour and that the band was happy and all that stuff. The way they were playing seemed genuinely happy.
Yeah.
What do you have to be so bitter about?
Don't know. It's got to be frustrating though to be, to have such an illustrious career in music and not being able to do it anymore.
Well, I mean,
physically not being able to do it anymore.
He could still sing.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's the guy's a great singer, probably an underrated singer.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, like, it's, you don't have to completely disengage. His choice to move to Switzerland, and be out there in the middle of the Alps.
Yeah.
So you don't have to completely disengage.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, Darren just sent us an email, by the way, just about Pai Dubois.
Yeah.
He did contribute to the lyrics for the song Test for Echo.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Which is a great song, by the way.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's a great record.
Absolutely.
Test for Echo is a really good record.
Time in Motion. Speaking of good records, what have you been listening to lately?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No. Well, I could get into a little bit. I just wanted to briefly tell you about that I was listening to a lot of the Presto Ballet EP.
Oh, okay, good.
And so I'll get into that, obviously, a little later on with Kurdt. But
that's right. If you're just joining us, by the way, we're going to have Kurdt VANDERHOOF of Presto Ballet in the bin in just a little while. We're going to talk about that. He used to be in Metal Church also. And they have a brand new EP called Love What You've Done with the Place.
And it's really good. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the last record, which was the first record with the singer from Metal Church contributing to Presto Ballet. And for whatever reason, it just didn't quite resonate with me like the first couple records did. Like the first record did. However, the EP is really great. I really, really dig it. There's a tune on there. It's the second song called The Clock. You and I listened to half a second of it before the show. And it is great. It may be one of the best songs I think that Presto Ballet has written. It is very like Yes. It really reminds me of classic Yes. It's just excellent, excellent tune. And something about that record, this EP, where the mix and the production, which is something Presto Ballet is, really sort of known for, is that big, airy, classic prog sound and the production. This EP is much better than the last record, so really enjoyed that. So I can't wait to talk to Kurdt about that. And then I finally I sat down and I took a good hour out of my life.
Okay.
And I listened to, because I told Fleabag that I would.
Okay.
That I would sit and listen to that Idlewild record.
Oh, yeah.
That he was into, called The Remote Part.
Right.
And I had briefly listened to it last week, and I got a feel for it, but he had sort of had the Keen, Travis kind of vibe to it, which I didn't quite get at all. But however, it's really a good record. I enjoyed it much more this week than I certainly did last week. I think because I had that
preconceived, Keen mentality going in.
I was looking for those big arena rock choruses, and it's not really like that at all. There's a song on there that I really liked, I Never Wanted, which is very, I don't want to quite say U2-ish, but it's sort of just like U2-ish rock, Doesn't have a very arena rock, pretty melody feel to it. It's just really good, solid rock, and really almost like 80s-ish, I don't want to say like 80, but REO Speedwagon kind of vibe.
Okay.
Where it's got those sort of melodic AOR choruses.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
Like Ligabooey.
Except this guy can sing.
Okay.
That's the difference. There's another tune on there called Stay the Same, and the guitar work on that song is just ridiculous. Just fucking standout. Really, really good.
Nice.
So yeah, I enjoyed that. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go back and listen to a bunch of the more Idlewild. I guess there's plenty of it to listen to. I'd never heard of Idlewild, but it's like there's 8 or 9 records, so there's a whole catalog to listen to. So I'm excited about that. And then I'll give you one more. I'll give you 2 more that I listened to, although I didn't listen to the whole thing. But this is the beauty of Spotify again, and I have an update for you on Spotify. But I listened to Vega, because it's another one that Fleabag put on our Facebook page, and he put a YouTube link, so if anyone else wants to hear it real quick, they can go to the Usbin Facebook page and click on that. But I listened to it, and I've been reading a little bit about Vega. Vega is sort of the Europe's big AOR band, sort of in the Journey kind of vibe. Journey, Toto, that kind of big arena AOR stuff, and it's pretty good. It's not, for whatever reason, those songs all start to sound the same to me after a while, and so I got through about 4 tunes today, and it's good. I probably have to sit with it, I guess, a little longer, but I didn't love it. But they're in this month's, which I guess probably if you're listening in Europe right now, probably last month's classic rock,
right?
But I just got the classic rock, so
yeah,
we're a good month behind.
We do have a little delay there,
but it's pretty good. I mean, they seem they're all over the place as far as that goes. They're certainly being billed as the next Journey over in Great Britain.
And you like the new Journey record, right?
Love it.
I'm going to need to hear that.
I really do love it.
I'm going to need to hear that.
There's one more thing I listened to a minute of today, which is called The Rival Sons, and the album's called Pressure and Time. I didn't listen to a ton of it, but I was reading about it in Classic Rock, actually, and again, the beauty of Spotify. I cranked it right up, 2 clicks later, I'm listening to a little bit of Rival Sons, and it's pretty cool. I got to sit with it, but it's like Zeppelin meets Cream. It's like got that old school kind of dirty, filthy drum sound, and very 70s rock. It's Wolf Mother without the Sabbath, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Is really good. I think that guy's really a good singer and really fun, bluesy 70s kind of tunes with a little bit of modern flair to it. So I'm looking forward to getting into the Rival Sons. Another thing that Classic Rock has been touting like crazy. Another one of those bands. So have you heard about them at all? No,
this is all new.
Rival Sons, pretty good.
Okay,
yeah, pretty
very
good.
Nice.
Need to sit with it, but pretty good. So that's about it. I was a busy little beaver. What about you? What are you listening
to? We were doing a lot of driving because we were on our way down to San Diego for Comic-Con. I'll tell you all about that later. But we listened to a little Marillion on the way down there, which is always nice.
Heard of them.
And just listen to a few old classics in the arsenal on the way down there. But when we got back to the house, I did spend some time downloading and setting up Spotify.
Oh, good.
On my computer, so I knew what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it makes me sad.
Why is that?
Spotify makes me sad. I don't know. It's too easy. They just gave it away. It's like, it feels like the last nail in the coffin. Like if you thought illegal downloading and legal downloading, and if you thought all of that was detractors from going out to a record store and buying something and trying new bands, and if you thought all of those were part of the problem, this is the last nail. This is the death knell. This is it. There's no reason for you to ever leave the house again. Anything you want to hear, just pull it up and listen to it. You don't have to go over to your friend's place and talk about it and listen to it with them. You don't have to swap cassettes or CDs with them or MP3s. Just, did you hear this? No, I'll listen to it tonight. Okay. That's the extent of the musical conversation now.
See, but you're missing the other side of it, which is
the convenience factor. I get.
No, I didn't. I wasn't necessarily referring to that as much as like the whole modern age of social networking or of socializing period is through Facebook and through Twitter and through emails, and then when you see each other, then you talk about it then. But the social networking component to Spotify is where you share music. That's the beauty of it. With one click, I can share on the Usbin Facebook page or on our Twitter account exactly what I'm listening to.
I don't know. I got to see how it all plays out, because
I know you're not big on the Facebook or Twitter.
My initial reaction was just that anything I want to hear, here it is for free. And it's like, there's no... How do you become passionate about a band that costs you zero money or effort to get into. Just pull it up and, I like it. Okay, I'll listen to it again sometime maybe. It's up there for free whenever I want it.
Yeah, but the investment now is in the live show.
Well, that's true.
That's where the passion and the investment comes
so
from.
that turned the music into the concert business.
It's absolutely 100%.
Yeah. So there's no reason to buy music anymore, but if you really like something, you could reward that band by buying a ticket.
Look, it's been like
Which
that.
means if you're not a very good live band, you're not going to be a band for very long.
Dude, you in 2 sentences, you just encapsulated the music business in the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. But now, I think it just escalated it to a whole nother level with Spotify, because I don't do like the illegal download thing, but I know it's out there, and I know that if you really wanted to get your hands on a record that came out on Tuesday, you could have it on Wednesday for free. Mm-hmm. But now you have access to everything whenever you want it.
But isn't that?
It seems a little too convenient.
But isn't that fantastic that you can think?
I don't know.
You can
I'm not
say
sure
to
yet.
But you can listen to whatever mood you're in a click of a button. How great is that?
The other side of this was, and this, granted, this is probably because I just own way too much music for my own good.
Yeah.
But when I sat down in front of Spotify and played around with it and got a feel for the way it worked, I couldn't think of anything to pull up.
Right, I had that problem.
I couldn't think of anything that I didn't already have in my collection.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I was just pulling up bands that I own their entire collection just to see sort of the spectrum of how much stuff they would have. Like if I pulled up Rush, I wanted to see, do they only have moving pictures?
Sure.
Or do they have the whole catalog? Or do they have anything unusual up there?
Right.
So I was trying to feel out the parameters of what they would have up there. And certain bands, they got the whole catalog. Other bands, they've got, 1 or 2 records.
Right.
And maybe they'll fill in the holes later. When I would try to, get really obscure and put in like Nectar or
they only have like the retrospective, I think of.
no,
Nectar,
they had like 2 or 3
show.
They had like 2 or 3 Nectar records and a best of.
Yeah.
Or I put in It Bites, and I think it had just a couple of the studio records.
Here's Mary Mejia emailed or posted on Twitter, I can't remember which one, when we were talking about Spotify. She had mentioned she was wondering what the whole purpose was of blending your own catalog in with Spotify.
Right.
And for me, what I think I've come up with is that Spotify sort of fills in the gaps. That's the idea. Listen, for you and me and probably a grip of other people that listen to the show, we're an extreme example the other way. But for the average,
we own a lot of music,
have a huge catalog,
right?
But for your average person, Spotify fills in the gaps. Maybe maybe you only do have moving pictures, but you're a Rush fan and you want to listen to Caravan or whatever. You know what I mean? Or you want to hear one at Fly By Night
or Taishan.
Well, who wouldn't want to hear Taishan? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's for. It sort of fills in the gap in your collection.
Right.
And granted, I mean, they only have 11 million songs up there, which, I say only, but realistically, only 11 million songs in the history of recorded music is not very much. It's a blip on the radar.
I was actually, during my sort of testing phase, I was actually going, across genres and stuff like that because I wanted to see. So if I pulled up like Edith Piaf, they had a massive selection of Edith Piaf. I put in Ligabooey, and they had a bunch of Ligabooey records. So it wasn't just the obvious pop and rock genres. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
But isn't it great to think, Joe, that if you wanted to hear, like, if I'm sitting here talking to you today about the Rival Sons, you're not going out and buying the Rival Sons record,
right? But
go to Spotify and listen to it, and then make your decision if you want to buy the Rival Sons record.
Yeah,
that's what's great about it. I did that with the Journey record, like stuff like that, where you go, I'm just not sure. Or if you're, well, the average person's messing around on Facebook, and somebody says to them, "Have you seen this or heard that or whatever?" You can go, "I haven't. I don't know that I would even buy it, but I'll check it out."
Yeah, I know that the little 30-second samples that Amazon's had for years has sometimes filled that gap for me, but granted, especially if you're into prog and it's 20-minute songs, a 30-second sample isn't going to do it. Although if you're interested in getting into the Ramones for the first time and you go to Amazon, you click on those little links, you're going to get the idea of the record. You're going to know whether you like it or not.
Right.
But yeah, maybe that doesn't work for Yes.
No.
Or Pink Floyd or Nectar.
But 30 seconds is like First of all,
it's a tease.
And you can't pick what 30 seconds you listen to.
Agreed.
So sometimes you get the intro, sometimes you get the chorus.
I agree that's a tease, but
I think this is great for the music business.
Maybe it is.
Bands are getting paid. The bands are getting paid when you're listening to the music, or when their music is up there. The bands are getting paid. So hopefully it cuts into the illegal download business, right? Because you can listen to it now. It's available. It's free. And people are getting paid.
Where's the revenue coming from? Just from advertising?
No, from the
premium subscriptions.
Yeah, the two other tiers, the $4.99 and the $9.99.
Have you picked up a premium subscription?
I will definitely, after this, the freemium, they're calling it the freemium part, which will eventually turn into like a very limited version of Spotify, where you can only listen to a certain amount of songs a month, or a certain amount of time.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's how the free version will work.
So they're the heroin dealers giving you your free taste right now.
Yeah, well, listen.
And once they got you hooked, you're going to be an addict.
They're just trying to break the product here in America. I mean, how many people really know about Spotify?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see billboards about Spotify anywhere, and it's still only invitation only. So they're trying to stagger how many people they get on this thing so they don't crash. But I'll at least pay for the $5 version, no problem, a month. I mean, it's well worth it to me. There's another service out there I tried this week. I'd never heard of it, called MOG, M-O-G.
Okay.
It's the competitor to Spotify, although it's been around for a long time, and it's pretty much the same thing, although they really don't have a free version. Their free version is a 14-day trial.
Oh, okay.
And you still have to put in your credit card and all your information. So, of course, when you forget to cancel, they charge your card $10 a month.
How long do you estimate that the U.S. Spotify will be free version?
I think they said at least 60 days.
Oh, okay.
At the minimum 60 days. So, and that could easily turn into 6 months, is my guess. Because they're getting so much positive press. It's all starting to pick up now.
Interesting.
But the MOG thing was really great. I thought that the interface and the player on the MOG player was a little bit better. I'll tell you why. Because I noticed that I had the same problem you did. I got on Spotify and went, okay, I didn't know what to do.
What do I want to hear? What do I want to do here?
I typed in IQ.
Yeah.
That was where I went. You know what I mean? But I didn't exactly know where to go. On MOG, you could type in IQ, and then in the little player comes up like bands they recommend that sound like IQ. So you go, oh, okay, cool.
It did that in Spotify too.
Where's that?
Up in the top right corner. It like when I typed in Nectar, it had Remember the Future by Nectar, or
the album
Tab in the
titles.
Ocean by Nectar, or something else by Nectar, or All Records by Nectar, or bands by Tangerine Dream, or bands by.
See, I didn't see.
Yeah, it gave you like some not a lot, but it gave you like 5 or 6 bands that were similar in nature. So there's got to be a huge database where not only are they cataloging songs, but they're cross-referencing genres.
Are you sure that? Oh, okay. Because what I always did, if I typed in Nectar, and in that, and where it says Nectar, anything that sort of remotely resembles the word Nectar, I click on Nectar, and then all the records come up.
Right.
So it's up in the upper right corner.
Up in the top right corner. Okay. Yeah, because you're right. If you clicked on the word Nectar, that would eliminate all of the other things that had Nectar in the title.
Right.
We're getting really specific now, but
that's okay. If you're in Spotify, and I telling you something, I got 5 emails this week from listeners of the show who said, I finally got Spotify. This is great, or I'm on Spotify checking it out.
Yeah,
so
whatever
people know what we're talking
whatever
about
you're typing into the search engine for Spotify, it's searching basically all the fields.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for example, I was remotely curious when I was sitting there going, I'd kind of like to hear what all the fuss is about with the Bono and Edge Spider-Man production.
Right.
Because that's not a record I would buy, but I would be curious to hear it.
Right.
So I typed in Spider-Man. Veruca Salt Spider-Man came up.
Right, yeah.
The Spider-Man, the movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
All these other songs with Spider-Man in the title, albums with Spider-Man in the name.
Right.
So all this other Spider-Man stuff came up. Turns out that record, the one I was looking for, wasn't even on Spotify yet.
Is it out?
I'm pretty sure it's out. They're selling it on Amazon, but...
oh, interesting. Well, that's the whole idea for me anyway. I didn't realize, though, that you could do that. But with MOG, you could do that. and it came up like the player is sort of like, and I'm doing hand gestures to Joe so he can only see what I'm talking about.
Oh, put that finger down.
That's right. But it's like, it's just a little like separate window where the player comes up, and then it says like editor's picks, and then whatever it is that you can choose. And I found myself going to a whole bunch of different places and stuff that maybe I wouldn't have listened to, and it was a great way to sort of connect the dots. One more thing, Joe, on Spotify, just to counter your argument a little bit, your concern anyway.
Right.
Spotify, one of the major things on Spotify is the playlist, where you can make your own playlist, and then you share it.
Haven't tried doing that yet.
Me neither, because it doesn't completely interest me. However, because I'm connected into our Facebook, I can see everybody who's on Spotify, who's a friend of ours on Facebook, and I can click on there and I can see the playlist that they've made public. And then you can click on their songs, or you can click on their band. So I could see, whatever, Hermie. If Hermie's on Spotify, I can click on Hermie and I can see whatever playlists he's made. So that's how you share music back and forth now, to let people know sort of what you're into and what you're not into.
So we would never have to ask, what have you been listening to? We could just click and find out.
Yeah, well,
only
if you're in front of your computer.
Okay. Yeah, jury's out on this one. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Obviously, it was the obvious next step. I'm not shocked by this development. It seems obvious, and the social networking aspect of it, which admittedly is not something that I'm taking advantage of.
Right.
Maybe that's a great feature. But just the fact that somebody could get in front of their computer and listen to any record that they want, anytime they want, basically.
I love that, though.
Yeah, it just seems so easy.
Dude, when I got the email from this...
It's like you stole the keys to the record store.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like, if you're an instant gratification guy, which obviously today's society is mainly instant gratification, I just loved it when I saw when Fleabag said, let's take this call, actually. Hang on a second. When Fleabag put the Idlewild thing on our Facebook page, and I was able to go right to it. I just love that. You know what I mean? So I think that's very cool about Spotify. All right, who do we got here in the used bin?
Boys, it's Dee. How are you doing?
Hey, Dean, how are you doing tonight?
I'm absolutely brilliant. And I was going to call in last week, but I don't know, I just got distracted. There's probably a bottle of beer involved or something.
Well, that's shocking coming from you, Dean.
Well, I'm calling you, not from Ventura, California, but from Syracuse, New York today.
Oh, wow.
So, your friends, our Canadian friends, William, a regular caller, I know what it feels like to be calling in at basically bedtime.
Right,
that's right.
Right.
You boys out there on the West Coast.
Well, we appreciate it. Good to hear from you. What are you doing out there?
Stuff, worky crap.
Okay.
But, just doing my thing. Had some drinky poos. Now just in my hotel room, wondering what to do. So I thought I'd just turn on the used bin. It's a Tuesday night here in the used bin. So I thought I'd phone you guys and see what's up.
Very nice. Well, actually, you're in a uniquely unique position to comment on this topic. We were just talking about Spotify, which has been big in Europe and your homeland prior to coming here to the States. Do you know anything about Spotify?
I know it's this you can pretty much I want to listen to Rush, for example. You just type in a name and you get to listen to some of their catalog, right?
Right.
But you can't choose. I don't know if you can choose. I want to listen to, and I'm not the biggest Rush fan, but I want to listen to Tom Sawyer, for example. I don't think you can choose a particular song, can you? No,
you can. Actually, Brad and I have both just gone on Spotify the last couple of days and kind of feeling this out, and I think we have differing opinions, but you can absolutely. You could very specifically pick an album or a track and listen to it whenever you want for free. And I just feel like this is the death knell for buying music.
It's the opposite, Joe.
You think?
It's the It's revitalizing music in the 21st century.
All right.
I'm telling you,
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, something's got to happen because I mean, you talk about it on your show often. You know how, obviously things have changed, and unless you're an established, unless you're an established band, how are you going to get heard? But if you're not an established band, who's going to look for you on Spotify, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the key is like, you have to be out there playing live. I mean, that's obviously going to be the key. So you got to be out there playing live, and you have to do whatever you can to promote yourself. But if somebody can find out about you, like for example, I listen to reading that classic rock magazine, you hear about Rival Sons, I can go on Spotify and listen to it immediately. That's a good thing.
Have you heard? Because it was our friend Stephen Humphreys who turned me on to the Rival Sons. They're doing this big thing over in Europe right now.
Yeah.
But have you listened to either of those two albums?
I did. I listened to Pressure and Time. I listened to a little bit of it today, and I really liked it a lot.
The first track is pretty kick-ass, actually. I downloaded the album, and I've had that playing in my ears as I've been exercising or walking or biking or whatevering. So that's some pretty good stuff. I'm looking forward to them coming back to Los Angeles, so we might be able to go and see it live.
Yeah, that would be great. They're very Zeppelin kind of cream 70s blues rock. I'm into it. I think it's good.
Totally enjoying it, and I tell you who I have been enjoying since your interview with him. You and I and Stephen, got to meet him all too briefly after that gig, and that was the last time I spoke to you. But when we went to see the Black Country Communion show there,
right.
Gosh, that was a couple of months ago almost. But I've been listening to some Glenn Hughes, and man, I mean. You guys have opened my ears, I suppose, to a whole lot of different music. I mean, Glenn Hughes, the guy's been around forever. Deep Purple. I mean, I was 6 years old when they came out in one of their versions. But I've been listening to some Glenn Hughes stuff. I mean, I'm a Glenn Hughes fan since when I saw him, and then subsequently heard him on a podcast on your show.
Excellent.
I mean, cool guy. Well excited to see if he'll come to the studio, for a repeat there. But I forget that note I sent you last week about the track One Side One. I mean, some of his albums totally open up and just grab you by the nuts, from the get-go.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I'll be honest. I probably much like you, Dean. I was always familiar with Glenn Hughes, and I know his backstory. But until fairly recently, like right around the time when we heard the second Black Country Communion record, and then had him subsequently on this show, it was very recently that I started going back and checking out his catalog, and I've been blown away by so many of the projects that he's been involved with over the years. But yeah, definitely worth checking deeper into his catalog than just Deep Purple.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, whenever I call him, I can never think of specific albums or specific songs. And the minute I hang up, I'm going to go, "Oh, that was the name of it." But there was one particular song. And when I hang up, I'll have to text it to you. But there was one of his songs that I listened to that, that little 20-30 second snippet you get on iTunes, and I was like, right, okay, I'm spending the $9.99 to buy that album, and absolutely worth every single penny.
Nice, that's great.
But I'm looking forward to hearing more again on a podcast about the track one, side one, or side one, track one, and how that went last week. And you don't want to revisit that because it's boring for the listeners. But surprise, 2112 is one of the top ones on your list anyway.
That is a shock on this show.
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
We never talk about that band.
But for you and anyone else who's curious, we are now caught up on all our podcasts and hope to stay that way. So if you miss any part of this show or any of our previous shows, you could always go to usebin.com and just check out the podcast, which is what Dean will be doing in the next couple of days.
Exactly. Thank you, Dean, for the segue. Yeah,
yes, perfect.
All right, Dean, we got to run. We got Kurdt VANDERHOOF coming on here in a couple of minutes.
I'm listening live. I'll be listening live for a little bit more before my head hits the pillow.
Good. Then you can go out and buy some Presto Ballet tomorrow.
Really.
Or listen to it on Spotify.
That's right, one or the other.
Hey, exactly. All right, guys. Catch you later.
All right, Dean.
Have a great night.
Bye. All right, Joe Mama.
That's probably our cue to play a little Presto Ballet. And in a very rare and controversial move here in the Used Bin, this is not a B-side.
Whoa.
It's actually off a legitimate EP. This is off the brand new Presto Ballet EP. Is it even out yet, actually?
Yes, it is.
It is officially out?
It is.
Okay, and it is called Love What You've Done With the Place.
Love what you've done with the place.
And this song is called Looking Glass. Bin Radio. What are you listening to? Hey, welcome back into the Used Bin, boys and girls, and that was a little Presto Ballet, and now we are delighted to have with us Kurdt VANDERHOOF.
Kurdt, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're delighted.
It's a delightful situation over here in the Used Bin.
Delightful, yes.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, man? I should tell you. I don't think I told you before. There's two of us in here. It's Brad and it's Joe. So when you hear two voices, it's us. There you go.
Awesome.
All right, now you're forewarned.
Okay, good.
So welcome. We're big fans, Kurdt. We've been listening to a lot of Presto Ballet and plugging the hell out of the band on this show in particular. And
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And we want to talk about the new release and what you got going on. But before we get to any of that, we always like to start out with our guests by asking, what have you been listening to lately? Other than Presto Ballet, what's in your CD player these days?
What am I listening to right now? Like, what's in my car?
Yes,
kind of,
right now.
Right now is a couple of 10cc records.
Nice.
Chris Squire's first solo record.
Fish Out of Water. That's great.
That's an awesome record. And a Marillion End of Season's End.
Wow.
I'm a huge fan.
And Kansas. The DVD thing, the sale of the box set that came out with the DVDs in it.
Right.
God, you hate Prague.
Yeah, I hate that. It's self-indulgent, over-considered stuff.
Yeah. Fucking bastards.
Yeah,
wow, man. That caught me a little off guard.
That's a great list. That's a great list, especially the Marillion. I'm a huge fan.
I kind of lost interest a little bit after when Fish left the band.
Right.
But over the past couple of years, I kind of gone back and started rediscovering some of that stuff, and I went, ooh,
yeah.
I've been missing out, and I've really become a fan of them again.
Yeah, I hear that a lot because they were so huge back in the Fish years, and a lot of people sort of lost the plot after season's end. But I think Marbles was just epic, and some of the recent stuff, really, really amazing stuff they're putting out.
Oh, yeah, and I'm rediscovering it, so I totally failed there for a few years.
Oh, you're forgiven. Don't worry about that. No worries.
Now, a lot of people might be surprised. I mean, other than the fact that you're in Presto Ballet, but might be surprised that you're such a prog fan because your roots go back to Metal Church, which didn't really have a lot of prog going on.
Not really, but I think a lot of the real first generation, well, the second generation, the early '80s, metal stuff, drew a lot from not necessarily the musicality of progressive rock, but the freedom, the big, huge songs, lots of changes, time signature changes, and that kind of thing. I think everybody stole that from all the early '70s prog bands.
Right.
Yeah. But musically, maybe obviously a lot more aggressive and things like that, and not keyboards. But I think a lot of the metal, the frame of mind, I think, is very similar.
Right.
In some ways, just the approach to songwriting.
I get that because in the I guess we're talking about early '80s when Metal Church came together,
right.
This is I guess there was an element of progressive rock working its way into bands like Megadeth and Queensryche at the time. Although
absolutely,
it wasn't obvious then.
The Metallica stuff, there's 8 million changes, songs that never get back to the beginning,
right? Right,
and all those kinds of great things that I love.
Yeah.
So back in the Metal Church years, who were some of the influences that you and the band had in common?
Oh, at that point, it was all the NWBHM,
right.
The Maidens, Motorheads, and Saxon, and all that kind of stuff, along with all the hard rock that we grew up with, the Rush and the Aerosmith and Ted Nugent and all that kind of stuff. So
Uncle
it was a hybrid
Ted.
of all of that. Yeah,
we don't hear enough about Uncle Ted on this show. It's always nice to hear a Nugent reference.
And people make fun of him, but he's great.
Absolutely,
Dude, he is great. I just wish he'd shut his mouth sometimes.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love him except for his beliefs.
Yeah, it's like he's just one of those guys where you just don't talk, just play.
Yeah,
play and sing.
Anything you say, but you're great.
Yeah. It is.
A little less politics, a little more gonzo.
Yeah, right. Come on, exactly.
Nobody chews gum like Uncle Teddy on stage. Let me just tell you, he is the baddest motherfucker on stage. Dude, that guy chews some gum, he plays that guitar, and it's all good.
Shoots a few arrows.
It is, man. It's all good.
He's so good at it. He's so good.
You feel like a real man when you're like watching Nugent, because he is all fucking dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Just makes you want to order a steak.
Total testosterone rock.
It really is. It really is. The last fist fight I ever got into was actually at a Nugent show.
Nice.
So there you go. Yeah, exactly right. All makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's like,
Nice. Nice. So, at what point during the Metal Church years do you decide that you want to take a totally different route and sort of actually you formed your own band first before Presto Ballet, right?
Well, yeah, Vanderhoof was kind of a solo project thing, and Vanderhoof just morphed into the Presto Ballet thing.
Right.
It was kind of just a side project, just something I wanted to do. I just wanted to create music that entertains myself, you know, and in hopes that people would like it, but also keeping very much a very 70s aesthetic, not only with the instrumentation and songwriting, but just the approach to recording. You know, I have a very much a love-hate relationship with the digital age.
Yeah.
There's some wonderful, great things about it, but at the same time, modern music that's created on a computer, you don't know if anybody's any good because you can fix it, you can cheat, and you know, and that really, really bothers me. That's why I guess I never really have any respect for a band unless I can tell they're actually playing, or I see them live and know they can actually play.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, you bought a record, you knew that was a real guy playing the whole song because you had to.
Right.
You know. Anymore, you don't know.
Yeah, it's totally true. In fact, the first time I think I heard Peace Among the Ruins, that's obviously the first thing that stands out is the beauty of the way it sounds. It's just big and airy and 70s and live and not digital.
Right, and that's something I'm trying to maintain. I have to use digital in some respects just because of a matter of facility, but you know, it's still, you know, all instruments are played by people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nothing is, you know, over-edited and pro-tooled and pitch-corrected and, you know, the list goes on and on and on, you know.
Yeah, so. I hate that shit. I really do. It's
I know.
Yeah.
You listen to pop music anymore, and it's like there's not a drummer in the building, you know.
Or a singer, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All auto-tuned.
Yeah.
There's no auto-tune going on Presto Ballet.
No, and there's no auto-tune going on Genesis Foxtrot or
that's true.
Or Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brainstorm. There's none of that, you know. It's just like, you know, come on, people, come on. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. You know.
I'm so happy to hear someone else say that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't agree anymore. I'm telling you.
Well, that's kind of, if nothing else, that's what I want to do with Presto. At least be one last, you know, bastion of you know, really doing it without cheating, I guess.
Yeah.
Keeping everything as analog as possible. So, just for principle, it's just the principle of the thing that bothers me.
Well, the sound is just so great. I mean,
thank you very much.
Yeah, just going back to when we first heard "Peace Among the Ruins," and I played it for Joe. We were on our way to go to see Mike Portnoy's Who tribute band. Actually,
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yes, and so we were
Amazing Journey or something.
Yeah, Amazing Journey, exactly right. Yeah, the night Gary Sharon took a header into the snare drum. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty metal actually.
That is very metal.
It was very metal. But I just remember playing it for Joe in the car and just going, man, it's like you would have no idea what year this record was made. It was really great.
And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's the intention.
Yeah, was this 2001 or, you know, 1971?
2004.
Yeah. But we would have you just have no idea. I mean, the way the keyboards is just so big and airy. It was really great.
Well, that's because it's real. You know, I mean, there's a lot of software things and, you know, digital instruments that sound like a Hammond, but they don't sound like a Hammond.
Yeah.
You know? The same thing, you know, with Mellotrons and Mini Moogs and all that stuff. The realness is just, you can't, I don't know how to describe it, but you can't really fake that stuff yet.
You know that
fortunately.
Have you heard Big Elf? You know that band Big Elf?
Good friends of mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We had them on the show, and we had the same conversation just about the sound of a Mellotron and and the liveness of that whole thing and how it really can't be duplicated.
Oh yeah, that's actually when this whole Presto thing started. I kind of became friends with the drummer Steve.
Right.
Because we're vintage gearheads, and we started buying and trading gear together. So yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Are they still in LA?
I'm sorry.
I think they're based here in LA. Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't
seen them in a while because I think they've been in Europe for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just looking on their website, as a matter of fact, yesterday to see if they were playing around or what they were up to, because I haven't talked to any of them in a while. No, I love that band. I've always loved those guys.
Yeah, last time we saw or heard from them was when they did the show at the Roxy. That was probably about a year ago.
It was. I can tell you when it was. Actually, it was the week that Dio died.
Oh, was it?
Yes, that's how I remember. Because we did the Dio tribute
in L.A.
I'm sorry.
How does prog draw in L.A.?
Well, you need to come out and find out for yourself, but it does pretty well. Actually,
if I have any, matter of fact, we're going to be actually doing that very, very soon.
Well, good. That's the next question. So let's just dive in, and then I'll answer your question about LA.
Right.
So, what's the tour plan?
Well, we don't have any tour plans. We're trying to put something together right now. We had a major drummer problem after the EP. He ended up having to leave, so we've been looking for a drummer, and it's been really, really difficult getting a solid lineup together.
Yeah.
Finally got it, though, as soon as we get the drummer thing sorted out, which we have to make a decision here within the week of who it's going to be. We have 2 people.
Mike Portnoy's unemployed.
Pardon?
Mike Portnoy's unemployed.
No, he's very employed. He's got many projects going on. Yeah, and he'd want money.
Yeah,
he'd
that's
want
right.
money,
which is so overrated, by the way.
I know. God. Oh,
it's ridiculous.
But money doesn't buy everything, but only rich people get to say that, right?
That's true. So
it would buy everything I need.
Right. Yeah. So
but, no, my point. Anyway, it's just been really, really hard trying to find musicians that, first of all, get it, second, can play it, and then also are available to go do what we need to do, which is go on the road, go on tour and leave home, because most people, when you get older, are married with kids and jobs and mortgages and things. And unless we are putting somebody on salary, it's really hard to find somebody that is not as grown up or as ungrown up as the rest of us.
Yeah. Have you guys toured? I mean, the only time I can never.
Nope. No, Presto, we haven't done. We've only done like 2 shows. Cal Prague 1 year, and then last year we played Open for Dream Theater in Portland.
Wow. Oh, that's right. That's right. I do remember reading about that. We were bummed about that.
And that went great, and that was just kind of it just went great. But then it was kind of like, okay, now what? Where are we going to play? What are we going to do? Our drummer at that point flaked. It's been an endless series of flaking drummers and various musicians. So.
Didn't you have I'm sorry.
Really tough. So.
You had a gig at Cal Prague lined up a few years back too that you didn't end up playing. Isn't that right?
Nope.
I know, because we were planning on coming. I don't think I even went to Cal Prague because you guys were the reason I was going.
Wow. Well, no, our drummer flaked.
This is a reoccurring theme, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just like, it's almost weird. Like, okay, I'm like looking at this guy going, okay, are you trying to tell me something?
Yeah.
I'm not using a drum machine.
Right.
It's like, no, we just got to find the right guy. So it's been a process, but we're actually really close to being there. The second problem, the tougher problem was finding a keyboard player, and finally found one in Kerry Shacklet, and he lives in Reno, but he is a monster. He's the dream keyboard player. Now he's just a monster. So that took a long time.
Right. So that's one problem down.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now just a drummer that's not going to flake, and we're good to go.
All right, so we're one step closer to getting a Presto Ballet show here in Southern California.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you know it, once in a week, I'll call you and go, okay, we got a drummer. You got a gig?
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure that we can actually help put something like that together. Help put you in touch with the right person, because there's, is that Papa J?
Papa J over at Cal Prague.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He's the big prog promoter.
Yeah, so to answer your question, the way we got on this whole topic of how does Los Angeles draw for prog, we don't get enough of it, and there are certainly the people who come out to the shows, and Cal Prague is certainly a testament to that, and all of the Mike Portnoy little side projects that he always runs through Los Angeles, they fill up the venues for these events. There's just not enough of them, so I think there's certainly some hungry prog audiences waiting to come out of the woodwork.
Well, there we go. That's what we have to do here in America, is just literally build it ourselves.
It's really true. I was just looking.
That's what, it's completely back to old school. I mean, the internet.
Yeah.
This is like it's back to the way it was for the prog scene now, because it's growing like crazy in Europe, as you well know. And now I think in America we've just got to. It's literally grassroots. the fans have to do it, just like back in the day with the metal stuff. You know?
What modern prog stuff have you been listening to? And let me clarify, actually, when I say modern prog, because it's more like, I'm referring, I guess, maybe to like the Mars Volta or Coheed and Cambria and that kind of world. Do you listen to that kind of stuff? And are you a fan?
I haven't heard a lot of either one of those bands, but I do listen to a lot of Porcupine Tree, obviously.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I love IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Enchant's great.
Right.
I really dig Moth of Vellum's album. I think is really good. Beardfish is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the Spock's Beard and Flower Kings and all that. I listen to a lot of that.
Yeah.
But mostly it's God, there's just a whole slew of like new bands, which is so exciting.
It is.
Actually, like I can actually musically live in the moment, which has been years since I could do that. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was looking through the Classic Rock magazine. I was just looking at the gigs going through Europe and all the prog bands. I mean, Caravan. It bites. Stuff doesn't
happen here.
Yeah, and that's the drag.
Exactly. I was actually going to move. Was going to relocate the band over to England, but after I went over there. And after about 3 days, realized, well, because of the state of the American dollar, it was like, there is no way I can afford to do this.
That's a tough move now.
I mean, my money that I allocated to relocate and set up camp for the band over there was like cut in half. Like 3 days. Well, okay, I guess I'm just going to party till my plane leaves.
Right.
I'll get home and do the best I can from there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the recession sucks.
Well,
I looked through the mag. I mean, they got Classic Rock Presents Prague.
Right.
I mean, it's a full-on glossy magazine that sells a lot of issues.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Awesome. I know. What does that tell you about what's going on over there,
Yeah.
And looking at the gig listing, everybody's playing, so that needs to start happening here. 'Cause if the people will come out if they know about it.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
No, I would agree.
Definitely. I want to talk to you about the new release. Now, if I'm doing my math correctly, it seems like the last record, Invisible Places, was, about 5-6 months ago?
Yeah. It came out in end of January, 1st of February, yeah.
Okay, and so now we've got this EP. Were these, based on the fact that it's called Love What You've Done with the Place, and the album was called Invisible Places, I'm guessing
really
that maybe there's some kind of tie-in, or maybe these are like the leftover tracks from that?
You just pointed out Places in Place. I never really thought about that. As you said that, I went, oh, wow, crap, I used Place in both album titles.
It just sounds like they're actually, leftover tracks from the Invisible Places record.
Right.
No, it's actually not. It's stuff that I had written already, and it was just something fun to do since we lost our drummer. And then we had just hired another drummer. Well, let's put something else. We're not gigging. Well, let's get to work and, to keep being as productive as we can.
I love
that. That was literally, and also too, because there's some different stuff on the EP that I wanted to open up the door a little bit more for us creatively, where we could do a little more, some more straightforward stuff along with the epic type of stuff.
Right.
There's a couple of more straightforward songs on there. Like Looking Glass is definitely more rock, and then the Deep Dark Blues is kind of a weird kind of thing. So just kind of had some stuff and wanted to try some different things rather than putting a whole album out that way. Just like something, here's an EP, just kind of a fun thing to do, and keeping the band out there and keeping music being made. That's the main thing of that. So
right.
Well, since we're not touring. So.
Yeah. I was saying earlier tonight, because I've been listening to a lot of the EP this week, that the song that really sticks out to me is that song, The Clock. It is such a great, so Yes-inspired.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. It just...
the acoustic one?
No, The Clock is what is that, 8 minutes, right?
Is that right? Okay, you're track 2, right?
Yeah, track 2.
He knows them by number.
Yeah, okay, my bad. Okay. Right. Joe's the math guy. I don't know numbers. But
I don't do math.
No, I don't do math so good. But I love that tune, man. It's just got such a great, classic Yes feel to it. And like you said, there's other tracks on the record that are so much more straight ahead that it's a nice mix, it seems like.
And that's kind of what I wanted to establish for the band, too, so we can do some, more... Well, it's kind of like, you buy a Rush record, like 2112, big, huge, epic song on one side, then side two's a bunch of just straightforward killer songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's great when you can mix it up. That's one of the things I love about being in a progressive band is that your template to work from is the range is so wide.
Yeah.
And being able to be completely creative in all different aspects and do all kinds of different things is really exciting, and it's a great place to be if you're a writer or anything. A lot more freedom.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in the Ramones.
Yeah, right. Really, like a lot of templates to work from, a lot of different tempo changes and odd time signatures.
Oh, love that. Dee and 7/8.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is the band you've always wanted to be in, Kurdt.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, even when I didn't know it.
Yeah. It sounds like this is where you've always wanted to be, like big,
I feel
expansive
really comfortable
stuff.
in this because I get to cover all bases. I get to do everything that I love.
Mm-hmm.
If be it some weird super trampy sounding thing to Kansas sounding yes thing, or to something really heavy.
Right.
You can mix it all up and do it all in there. And it's like, hey, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There's a scene for it. I'm there.
Right. Do people look at you funny and say, "Dude, but you're the guy from Metal Church"? Like, what are you doing?
On occasion, I'll get the occasional, bonehead that, "What are you doing, man? How come you're not doing metal anymore?" The Facebook comments.
Yeah.
"Oh God, what's this whippy stuff? I'm done with you. See ya." I get that a lot.
Really?
But that's fine because if you only like heavy metal and that's the only thing you want to listen to, then you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, sort of okay.
It's sort of okay.
Well,
but not
it's
really
okay with me that they can. That's okay. Go ahead. I don't care.
Until you hit him over the head with a hammer.
Stupid.
Right.
No, I don't want to say that. But it is for people that want to hear metal stuff. This isn't metal.
Are you still a metal fan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, what was I listening to yesterday? Oh, Saxon Wheels of Steel.
Oh, nice.
Dude, Saxon's actually coming out here to L.A.
Yeah, Saxon's coming to L.A. for the first time in a very long time. We're going to have to be there.
Yeah.
Where are they playing?
The Key Club.
The Key Club.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We did Rocklahoma with them, and they still kick ass.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Yeah. Biff not looking so good.
To meet him talking, he's a huge prog head.
Who's that?
Nigel, the drummer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a big prog fan. Yep.
How weird is that?
That's weird. You wouldn't think that Denim and Leather guy is like,
Right.
I really like Tales of Topographic Oceans.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he's way into it. As a matter of fact, when I was before I got shut down in the UK, we were talking about having him play with Presto.
I was just going to say, why isn't he in your band?
Because he's in Saxon.
Because they're over there, and Saxon goes out and makes money.
Well,
see, there's that money thing again.
Well, that's what I just need a drummer that can wait a little bit of time to see if we can get this thing off the ground.
Right.
Yeah,
then we'll raise your salary to money.
Right.
It won't buy you happiness, but it'll pay for the search.
Exactly. Very good.
Yeah.
So other than that, Jackie, how'd you like the parade?
So now, having said all that about metal and your metal roots, it's come to my attention that Ronnie from Metal Church is now a member of Presto Ballet.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Is this is in no way indicative of a move to get the old band back together or do something like that, right?
What, with Metal Church, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
No.
Completely. No. This was like when our singer decided. Well, we had a UK tour planned last year of September.
Mm-hmm.
September of last year, and just a 2-week run. And our singer, the original singer Scott. I told him, look, we got 2 weeks in Europe, over in the UK. Well, he can't go.
Ugh.
He runs his own construction company, and he can't go.
Wow.
So it was like, a very amicable split, but it's like, I got to find somebody that is a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie. Great singer. We work great together, and I asked him if he'd like to try it, and he was like, I'll give it a shot. And now that he's into it and realized how much more he can actually sing and more things he can do with his voice, and he doesn't have to, scream all the time, and he can actually do lots of singer things and all kinds of stuff like that. He's just like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's brought a whole new element, a bigger kind of more of arena-sized, he's a real rock frontman kind of guy.
Right.
So it's brought a lot of that element to the band, which I'm really happy with.
That's excellent. It's always fascinating when you see that sort of crossover, especially for a vocalist who you think of as one particular genre, and then he makes the move. We've talked about this on the show before, but Sebastian from Skid Row, who we all think of as one kind of singer, and then he sang on, what was the name of the Frame Shift record?
The second Frame
The
Shift
second
record.
Frame Shift.
Yeah,
He did a progressive rock album, and he shredded on that.
Yeah.
It was just
Really? Oh, I had no idea.
It was just really unexpected and really good.
Yeah, that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Frame Shift?
Yeah, there's two Frame Shift records. The first one has James LaBrie from Dream Theater on it, and the second one has Sebastian on it. And it's
Wow.
He's, I think anyway. My humble opinion is I think he's just a great singer. And when he actually settles down a little bit and pulls it back just a hair and stops, sucking Kiss off. He's a really great prog singer, and he nailed it. I mean, he really nailed it.
Singer.
He really is.
I think that's the thing when you're doing something like the prog thing. Same thing with Ronnie. You have freedom to actually sing. You don't have to maintain a certain thing the whole time. You're metal. This is what you do.
Right.
When you're doing different kinds of stuff, you can sing differently.
Sure. I
really
get the
stretch out. I think that's really great. I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't know that.
I get the impression that Ronnie wasn't necessarily a prog guy.
He wasn't. I mean, he was very familiar with it, same way I was growing up. But I was into like the ELP and Yes and all that stuff at the time.
Yeah.
But he knew about it a lot. But he just kind of went down the metal road. He had heard all the stuff and everything, and now it's for him. It's been like a whole new world has opened up to him. I'm turning him on to all these new bands. And he's like a kid in a candy store now. I mean, it's like wow. Okay, and there's a place for us to play. People like this, and I can actually do some real singer stuff.
Yeah.
He's just really happy. I mean, again, he still loves his metal thing, and his solo stuff is very, classic metal.
Yeah.
But and I think he did just a seamless job stepping right in and just taking over the spot. Just amazing. So.
I would agree. I would actually say that I like him better on this new EP, Love What You've Done with the Place, I think, than I do on Invisible Places for some reason.
I totally agree with you on that. He is finding his voice now. And the first record he was, searching around, and you can hear it. I mean, he did a great job, but now he's settled into it a lot more on the EP to where it's like, oh, okay, he's a lot more comfortable sounding. It sounds a lot more natural. And yeah, both Ronnie and I will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
We both have commented on that.
Is he ready to go out on the road and sing this stuff live?
Yeah, we're chomping at all four of us are just chomping at the bit to get out there and start playing. I mean, we keep getting shut down.
Yeah.
But believe me, that's my mission in life, is to get Presto out and play as much as possible anywhere and everywhere we can.
What does your set list look like? I mean, let's be honest. You've played 2 shows, so we can actually we can fantasize a little bit about that set list.
There's a couple of songs off the first 2 records, and then there's 2 songs off Peace. There's 2 songs off Lost Art of Time Travel. Mm-hmm. And there's about 4 songs off Invisible Places and 2 songs off the EP.
Yeah, good you've put no thought into this. No, that's good, really. I'm sure this will just be off the cuff, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's just kind of like Guns N' Roses. We don't have a set list. We just play whatever we feel.
Exactly like Guns N' Roses. That's really
exactly.
funny.
I mean, we just like, we like to drink Jack Daniels on stage and stuff,
Yeah, just like most prog bands.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They get really hammered in the middle of the gig.
And they pick up prog chicks after the show.
Prog chicks. the much maligned genre of prog chicks.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The endangered species.
Right. So you're putting together this big Presto set list, and are you putting it together in the sense of like obviously you know what you want to play, but I mean as far as the epics go, I mean, are you stretching out? Are you playing 12, 15-minute tunes, or are you going to
it depends on where we're playing. I mean, it was kind of an interesting thing when we got the Dream Theater gig. It's like, we got a 45-minute set, and I went, okay, well, I'm in a prog band. Oh, that's 4 songs.
Right, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
Right.
Very nice.
So it really depends. I mean, those are the songs that's the set that we're learning, and depending upon if we're opening for somebody or doing a headline show, we just have to have that stuff in the arsenal ready to play, depending on how long our set is.
Right.
Now, I wanted to pick up a topic here, just for a minute, and get your thoughts on it. And I mean this in the kindest of ways. But why do so many prog bands come up with really kind of strange names? Spock's Beard, Presto Ballet, Porcupine Tree. Where does this come from?
I think it's probably coming from a place where you really where you have the freedom to do something off the wall where it's kind of accepted, where if you're doing something kind of mainstream, you kind of end up having a mainstream kind of name, kind of,
Right.
I guess.
That's fair.
You know, I don't know. I think it's just kind of part and parcel with the whole way of, you know, being into that kind of music. You're always into kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the strange arrangements and strange sounds and weird moods and all that stuff. So I think it just comes with the genre, I think, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, Osric Tentacles was never going to be a pop band.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. Names are very indicative of your genre, actually, if you think about it, because you know, obviously, Metal Church is not a fucking pop band.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Soundgarden is not a pop band, and you know, whereas
Metallica,
is-
Iron Maiden,
right?
is
Those
not
are
gonna
metal
be-
band. Those are
right.
metal sounding names.
But
you-
Vandergraaf Generator, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Caravan is a pretty indicative of what you're going to be hearing.
Okay.
Right, Renaissance.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, IQ,
Oh, yeah, Gentle Giant.
Gentle Giant, for
Very
God's
nice.
sakes.
Very nice.
Yeah, no, that's true. And
That's
even
fair.
even in the jam bands like Humphreys McGee. I mean, Humphreys
Right, exactly.
Humphreys McGee is not opening for Britney Spears anytime soon.
No.
Right, exactly. So I think exactly. It's exactly it. I think it just comes with the whole mindset, you know, just the off the wall kind of weird names, you know, and just something like yes.
Right, yeah, and Rush.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it just comes with it. It can be a big, huge, like, name that needs punctuation or just one word, you know.
Right.
All right, that's a good solid answer. I'll take that. When we announced that you were coming on the show, we got a bunch of emails from some of our listeners. This is one of them I wanted to run past you, from our listener Lee. And Lee says that he saw you with Metal Church opening for Anthrax back on the Dark tour, and he's wondering, as you were powering through Start the Fire and Beyond the Black, were you already planning your escape for a prog project, or did the idea for Presto Ballet come much later?
The idea came later. The idea came when, after I left Metal Church and really got into the studio aspect of things, and then just kind of had a rock band, kind of a straightforward, you know, rock and roll thing. Did a record on IRS, and I just kind of got to the point where, like, what do you listen to? What music do you want to play? Instead of thinking about, you know, what's going to get me a record deal, or what's popular, or what's cool, I just went, you know, I'm in music not to be a rock star. I'm in music not to get rich. I'm in music because it's what I do. I want to make good music.
Right.
What music do you like? So then it started with, well, I still listen to all this classic rock stuff. That's all I listen to. This is before knowing about any of the new prog bands. And I just wanted to make music that had that same kind of vibe to it as all my favorite records that I grew up with. So had the same aesthetic, and was getting away from the digital modern kind of thing, and wanted to really go back to the things that made me excited about music in the first place. So that basically became the Vanderhoof stuff, which was the rock and roll version of my 70s trip. And that's where it started, and then it just kind of morphed into the progressive thing. And as I kind of started getting into, like, the using keyboards and things and Hammond organs, I started digging back into my collection and digging back into Yes and stuff, and going, wow, I really like this stuff. And I started kind of wanting to really challenge myself as a writer and as a musician, to really stretch out and try something different, but also something that I loved. There's something that I was still listening to, and I have never quit listening to, you know, since, you know, being a kid. And that was the inspiration from it, you know. To emulate that, to be in the band. If I was, if I was in 1975 and old enough to be in a band, this would be the band I'd be in. You know, that's kind of the approach.
Nice.
That's a pretty good answer.
As you're making this sort of analog approach to making music, you know, how does that actually work out? Do you work on these songs as a band, or do you sort of carve it out yourself? And then when you approach the recording, who goes first? Because there's no click track.
Well, yeah. Well, no, we still use a click track, but we record on tape. I mean, in parts, you use a click for keeping your place.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we still record on tape. Most of it has been done mostly studio stuff, because it's been a process of trying to find musicians to keep it together. So a lot of it has been just finding people, you know, that I have access to here. On the last record, it's usually the drums that go first. You know, I write all the stuff. I demo all the stuff. And then I give it to everybody, and then we all kind of get together, you know, and kind of go over arrangements and go over stuff, and Ronnie and I will work on the lyrics and the vocal melodies together, and then that will also change the arrangements, and then we finalize it that way in pre-production with everything as a band, and then we just basically record the drums first and then start building on there.
Right. Do you release everything you record? Because one of the things we talk about on this show, and we've made this reference or this joke, if you will, about how we need more Presto Ballet B-sides. And the reality of that is there's a lot of these bands that we love where just, you know, the catalog isn't enough. Like if you're into Rush, that's pretty much all there is. They don't have any singles. There's no B-sides. There's nothing else but those studio albums. So we've got the 3 albums and the EP. Is there other stuff floating around? Were there singles or B-sides?
But there will be. There absolutely will be. And again, most of that's going to be determined after, you know, the lineup is solid and we're actually being more productive as a band.
Okay.
And that's going to happen very soon because I love that stuff. As a matter of fact, one of the things I want to do after the next full-length album is I want to do an album that is completely on vinyl.
Nice.
Where it doesn't touch and ever go into digital, where the whole entire thing is recorded on tape, mastered analog, and it's pressed on vinyl, and the cover is painted.
Wow. Love that.
You can only buy it on vinyl.
Wow, you must have really big balls, because that is really ballsy.
Well, it's just more of like, because for one thing, CDs are too long for me now.
Right.
Because, you know, you can put way too much information on them, and, you know, that's all fine, but just because, you know, a 40-minute album for me is, like, perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, if it goes any longer than that, I don't really listen to anybody for an hour and 20 minutes, you know, not all at once, you know, but an album, you know, like 20 minutes aside, you play 20 minutes of it, and you turn it over, and you get 20 more minutes. Sometimes, you know, if it's a good record, when it's over, you wouldn't mind hearing it again.
Right. You know? That's
I have CDs that, you know, there's so much music on it that I haven't even heard the whole thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, sometimes they'll just put filler and stuff on it just to make it, you know, so much music that it's like, it's not about how much time is music, it's about the quality of what's on there.
Right, exactly. Put the best 40, 45 minutes out there, and then for the diehards, you know, have a couple of B-sides. Yeah, I'm with you. That's the way to go.
Didn't you do some bonus material though for the Peace Among the Ruins? Weren't there some bonus tracks on the website?
There's a couple things that we put up for download on the website.
Right.
Yeah, there were 2 tracks off there. Yeah.
What were those? What were those? Because we played. I can't. They're escaping me. But we played one of those tracks on the show, and that's
how we
where,
started our.
That's
whole...
where the Presto Ballet B-sides thing came from. Because we've been talking about Presto Ballet B-sides for as long as we've been on the air. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
We invoke the B-side for Presto Ballet sometime every show. It seems like.
Well, I can promise you, within this year, there's going to be a lot of that because you know, we're going to be recording a lot between now and the first of the year, and working on a new album. And basically going to be releasing the new album after the first of the year.
Wow.
Coinciding with tour dates.
Excellent.
So we're going to do it properly.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's really good news. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Where's the the Vanderhoof stuff? Is that available still? Because I've never heard any of that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely 70s rock. This is Presto 70s prog rock. The Vanderhoof stuff is just very 70s rock.
Where do I find that? Because I want to hear that. I've never heard it.
I think Amazon and all that stuff. If you can't find it, I'll get it for you. Send me an email. Send me an email, and matter of fact, just send me an email with your address, and I can send you some of it.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm excited to hear
I got
that.
a whole bunch of the first album.
Okay,
I'm excited to hear that. Yeah, for sure.
Well, where's for the benefit of our listeners? Where's the best place for them to find out all about what's going on with Presto Ballet and to find out about the new EP? Where should they go?
Well, the website prestoballet.com.
Okay,
absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty much where there's everything. When everything happens, everything goes on, and if you go to our website, you can get a free track. Sign up for a free track.
Cool.
Which is The Clock, by the way. So.
I like that song. I do. Joe and I were listening to it before we came on the air tonight. It's just that song's really good.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying to do something that, you know, especially a project that is completely a labor of love for me, to have it be received so well, because I just was doing it just to entertain myself, and I hope somebody likes it.
Yeah.
But the response we've been getting has just been amazing, and just have people that that really listen, that get it, that's what really means a lot. You know, you guys are like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, no, you guys are actually listening to it.
Yeah.
And you know where it's coming from, you know what it's about, and that means a lot, and I really, really appreciate it.
Well, we're fans, and we're going to keep telling our listeners about all the upcoming Presto Ballet B-sides.
Cool, and shows, and all the stuff that isn't happening yet, but it's going to.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, I'm excited to see you guys live, and really, Joan.
Me too.
Yeah, we've talked about this thing a lot, about why hasn't there been any Presto Ballet shows. To me, it's almost like you don't really exist.
Yeah, until we get the live show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and that's the way it feels like, you know, and it's just kind of, I was just talking with Bobby, our bass player. It's just like, you know, we've got to get out. We can sit here and make the records and do all that, but until we get out and start doing shows, we don't feel like a band.
Yeah.
You know, we certainly are, but the studio stuff is great, but that's only half of it.
yeah,
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
we got to get out and start. We got to get out and start playing.
yeah, you're sort of like a unicorn. I mean, I've read about you guys, and I've seen pictures, but I don't know that you really exist until I actually see you in person.
It's like Sasquatch.
Right, exactly.
There's leaving footprints, but you've never seen one.
Very nice.
That's where the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot of Prague.
That's right, the Bigfoot of Prague.
Some
love
people
it.
say we exist. Some people don't believe it.
No, not until I see it. Let me just tell you right now, not until I see it. So,
well, this has been a real treat for us. We want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, Kurt. Before we let you...
Hey, no, it's been my pleasure anytime. I really appreciate it.
Before we let you go, we always like to end our interviews with 3 rapid-fire questions. Just the first thing that pops into your mind for each of these. First one is, what was the first record you ever bought?
Ever bought or ever got?
Ever got?
Oh, God, that's hard to say. My parents ran a radio station.
Oh, really?
really?
Yeah, and they played adult contemporary in the early 60s, so it was I was getting all the stuff they wouldn't play, which was all the rock, like the Beatles and the Stones and all the stuff they wouldn't play.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, it was very... I started really early. First record I ever bought... Let's start with the first record I ever bought, which was Jimi Hendrix' Electric Ladyland.
Wow, that's not a bad way to start off a record collection, right?
Not at all.
Yeah, no, but I had tons of stuff, but they're all promotional copies.
Very
Beatles and all
nice.
that. I had all that stuff very early, but the one I couldn't tell you which the first record I ever got.
Gotcha.
The first record I bought was Electric Ladyland.
All right.
Excellent.
And second question, if you were not involved in music, what else do you think you'd be doing right now?
I'd be dead.
Music saved his life.
I know it's a cliche, but I would have just... It's true. I mean, I haven't done anything else since I've been 5. You know, I had a little sidebar in high school playing football. That was about it, and I left high school because, I can't go to school today. 2112 came out. You know.
Beautiful.
We're kindred spirits.
Which leads perfectly into the third and final question, which is if you were trapped on a desert island and you could only bring one Rush album with you, which would it be?
Ooh, one Rush album?
Yes.
Farewell to Kings.
Ah,
Oh, good
very
choice.
nice. Little Cygnus. I like
Good.
it. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Very nice.
Dude, Cygnus on a desert island, that doesn't suck much, really, if you think about it, really, you know. I'm kind of down with that, actually, now that I think of it. I might just go.
I'm going.
You know, with the weather we've had up here, I'll take a desert island at any time right now. You know?
Has it been awful?
Oh, God, it's been horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I'm going to need meds. That's why I'm thinking about moving to L.A.
Well, if you move to L.A., then you'd actually play gigs, I'm guessing.
Well, see, that's actually kind of the same thing applies as why I was moving the band over to London.
Right.
Or over to England. You know, just getting in a place where, where we can be productive.
Yeah.
And so the whole UK thing didn't work because of the economy. Their economy sucks, ours does.
Right.
So I was like, well, L.A. Okay, cool. The weather's better, too, because that's really driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to be in a place where we can gig,
Yeah. I love your passion is just so great. I mean, it's so it's nice because the records are really good, and if anyone who's listening has not picked up some of these Presto Ballet records, you need to go do it. And the new EP, Love What You Done With the Place, is out, and it's available at prestoballet.com, and you got to go check it out. But if you like those records, I mean, the passion is so great, and that's what makes progressive rock so great. I think that most of these guys that play progressive rock do it because they love it and not because it's about the money.
Right, because there isn't any, I mean...
Yeah.
And I mean, there is, certainly,
unless you're Mike
especially
Portnoy.
now, if you're doing your own thing and selling your records yourself.
Yeah.
That you don't need to sell big numbers. Thank God that's the good thing that the big record company days are gone, which is great. It's hard to get started, but if you can go out and sell 10,000, 20,000 records on your own,
Yeah.
you're making a living.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's awesome.
And get out on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should petition so that bands don't get paid by record sales anymore, but by the notes.
Wow. Wow. I can tell you this. I can tell you that Transatlantic wins hands down.
There's a lot of notes there.
Yeah. Hands down, Transatlantic will kick anybody's ass.
Yeah, those will be the richest band in the world.
That's
no
right.
doubt.
Right.
Those are some
the guys that like the shredders, you know.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
That'd be awesome.
All right, Kurt,
All
man,
right, Kurt.
thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on, and I know we were scheduled
pleasure,
to do this last month, and then we took our unscheduled break. But we're glad that you rescheduled with us.
Hey, no, it's my pleasure, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Good. Well, keep us posted when you've got stuff coming out, and we'll make sure we pass along the good news.
Absolutely, and if we do end up moving camp down to LA, I'll certainly let you know.
Please do.
Absolutely.
All right, Kurt. Take care, man.
Have a great night.
You have a good night, you guys.
You too. Dude, you gotta love the passion of
Absolutely,
Prague.
Absolutely. The Passion of the Prague.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a movie?
Don't
with
say-
Peter
don't
Gabriel
say it.
doing the soundtrack.
Passion of the
The
Prague.
Passion of the Prague.
Like Gewalt. But yeah, I just, again, it's very symbolic of what the difference between prog guys and most other genres of music. There's an element of passion there that I don't think exists in a lot of other kinds of music. Like, you're not going to hear Adam Levine from Maroon 5 as passionate about his music and the way he records his music like Kurt Vanderhoof.
That's fair. That's fair.
Would you agree?
I would agree. You want to hear some prog?
Do you want to listen to Maroon 5?
Not really.
The answer would be no.
Not really.
No on all counts.
Not
but
really.
I would like to listen to prog.
All right, let's do it. Here is the brand new Steven Wilson track from his upcoming album. What's the name of the record? Grace for Drowning?
Grace, yes.
Yeah, what I said.
Right. Steven Wilson, Prague, solo record.
Enjoy. What are you listening to? Used-Bin Radio.
That's nice.
And welcome back to Used-Bin Radio.
That is weird sounding.
That is weird sounding.
Hey, let it go. I'm going to go to another tune. Tell me if this is better.
You don't like that one, do you?
I love that song. That sounds better.
We got all kinds of stuff going on here. Anyway, that was a little bit of the brand new Steven Wilson, "Grace for Drowning." That is, you could definitely tell that he's been listening to a lot of King Crimson and remastering that catalog
A little
lately.
bit.
He's got a lot going on there. That's probably one of the most abstract things I've heard from him in a long, long time.
Yeah. Although I see it, to me, I like that a lot better than maybe some of the other stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I like that. For whatever reason, I can wrap my head around that a lot better than I can wrap my head around some of the Insurrentis stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
see, I love the Blackfield stuff.
but Blackfield's a little more
But that's
pop.
that's a little more pop. Yeah, that's fair.
Or accessible, I should say. Maybe not pop, but accessible. Whereas this, to me, is abstract as it is. For whatever reason, I can wrap my head around that a little bit easier.
Yeah. I'm hearing the King Crimson. I'm hearing the Vanderhoof generator.
Yeah.
Maybe a little soft machine.
You gotta love the horns. Yeah, you gotta love that.
Yeah, all good.
So
We got some emails during the break.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I wanted to quickly. I got some text from Rich at the mothership, and he was letting me know that they don't get Spotify yet in Canada. And I'm assuming that it's just a rights issue, and I know that's a drag. And I got some emails about that last week as well. So I'm sorry about that. We do gush a little bit about some of the technology.
We're not just showing
maybe
off.
Not everyone has. Yeah, but maybe I don't know if you guys get the MOG.com. Try that. Maybe you guys get that, and it's very similar to Spotify. At least you can try it for 2 weeks for free. So give that a shot. But yeah, that's a bummer. So sorry, it's like we're dangling the carrot, but I'm sure it'll be there soon.
Yeah.
Another email that we did get from Gary, speaking of Spotify, in regards to Rush, he said, just wanted to tell you that some Rush songs are not available on Spotify. Camera Eye, Hemispheres, Xanadu, for example. Mostly their hits and the longer songs. Now, that's
interesting.
Yeah, because I listened, was looking at home, and I have the Rush catalog, obviously I can't tell what's on Spotify and not, so I have to go to a different computer and try that.
Actually, you can't. There is a way you can tell when you're looking at your.
If it's highlighted.
No. If it's got like a little file icon next to the name.
Okay.
You can tell it's in your local files.
Got it.
Otherwise, it's just something strictly on Spotify, which is why I was noticing. See, I'm just getting all used to all this.
Yeah, sure.
We're just figuring Spotify out. But I was noticing that certain records, every song would show up twice. Like if I pulled up Moving Pictures, for example, it would show Tom Sawyer twice because one is the Spotify version and one is the one that's on my hard drive. Red Barchetta would show up twice.
I didn't have that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe it's different for everyone.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's not.
It's magic.
I think it's just a matter of tooling around with this thing.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'm not so sure that this is the final version of Spotify anyway.
Yeah. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I think so. Progress.
Right,
that's right.
Progressive rock.
Progress.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
And don't be offensive.
Okay.
And, speaking of Rush, we do have another. I know this is shocking, but we do have another Rush email.
Okay.
And this is a good one. This is from John, who said, because we were talking about Test for Echo earlier, he said he was listening to one of the earlier podcasts, and one of you, which would be Joe, had not listened to the last track on Test for Echo.
That's right.
Which was Carve Away the Stone.
It is indeed.
Just wondering if this has happened yet, and if it did, was it the original remaster that mysteriously leaves out the Sisyphus lyric?
See, I don't even know what you're referring to because I've still never heard the song.
So the answer is no.
The answer is no. And just to kind of explain this, not that there really is a good explanation. I'm a lifelong Rush fanatic, and the only explanation I can offer is that after Test for Echo came out, when it first came out, actually, and now I am showing off a little bit. I had an advance copy of the record about a month before Test for Echo was released, and it was the whole disc except for the last song for whatever reason. But I remember we had like a little listening party, and you and Suk and Stone, all the usual suspects were there, and we listened to the record and we loved it. In fact, I even have a videotape somewhere of us listening to it. Yeah. Talk about self-indulgent. There's a videotape of us listening to Test for Echo for the first time. But that track wasn't on the advanced copy that I had. And then when I finally got the store-bought record, I just decided, you know what, one day I'm going to be begging for an old Rush song, and there won't be one.
And by the time you listen to it, that will be an old song.
Well, it already is.
Now
it's like 15, 16 years old now.
It wasn't then.
It wasn't then. So I'm just kind of saving it for a rainy day. And when I told this story the first time on the show, I don't know if it was on the particular podcast that you heard, sir, but I had explained that I had done the same thing. This isn't Carve Away the Stone, is it? That would be ironic.
No, but it is Dog Ears.
Oh, okay.
Because Joe, it is the season of the itch.
Season of the itch. But I had done the same thing with Yes when I got. Now this goes way back to the 70s, but when I first picked up Relayer, I just knew that there would be a day when I would be jonesing for these long prog songs, because to be fair, when I picked up Relayer, they were already like in the Tormato period, so they were already starting to come up with shorter songs.
Right.
And so when I picked up Relayer, I listened to side one. All of side one is Gates of Delirium, which is just glorious, and side two is just two songs, Sound Chaser and To Be Over. And I just thought to myself, I'm going to save those two songs for when I really need them. And I didn't listen to side two of Relayer for like about another 10 years, or maybe not quite that long, maybe 6-7 years before I finally put it on. And it was glorious when I finally listened to those tracks, but still saving Carve Away the Stone.
Well, this is the rest of his email. He goes on to say, by the way, I respect the intestinal fortitude to be able to do that. I generally don't listen to music before it's released unless I have the physical media in front of me, so I can sort of relate. By the way, first time I'm listening live. I've been doing selected podcasts over the years, so he gave us a list of 5 albums he's been listening to.
Oh, please. What have you been listening to?
What have I been listening to?
No, what has he been listening to?
Oh, what has he been listening to? No, you're not talking to me.
Not right now.
You were talking to the email.
You betcha.
You were referring to the email.
Yes, because I'm a technological kind of guy, and there's a personification of that email right now for me. I'm visualizing him.
So basically, you're talking to paper.
Yes.
Well, a computer.
Yes.
Well, actually, my phone.
Yes.
He's been listening to...
Bytes, if you will.
If you will. Of sorts. The Stanley Clarke Band, self-titled record.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Les Claypool's Of Wales and War.
Very interesting selection.
Pinnacle's Meld.
Okay.
Little King's X, Live Love in London.
Didn't love that record.
And how about this one for you?
Yeah.
A little Asia Omega.
Nice.
I listened to a little bit of Omega today.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course he says not counting Rush Live Bootleg Mix CD. Because
everybody should be listening to Rush.
It's in everybody's plalyst.
Yes, it is. It's in your Spotify. It's in my Spotify. Yes.
Well, glad you're listening live tonight, John.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And that is fine. A good email, so we appreciate it. Keep them coming, young man.
Yeah, I'm a King's X fan, but I just didn't love that live record for some reason. I think we talked about this, but I just got the feeling that maybe vocally it was just a bad night vocally, because the band still sounds tight, and the set list I remember was really, really good on that particular show.
Do you have bootlegs from that show? From that tour?
Oh, no, I don't. From that tour, but I do have that.
Because I wonder if there's a better show from that tour.
Oh, that could be. So maybe it was just an off night.
Right.
Yeah, I'd hate to think that we're getting diminishing returns from King's X, because they've been so solid and so you could always count on them for an epic show. And this was the first time, and I wasn't at the show, but the first time I had heard a recording of them where it sounded substandard to me, and it was mostly the vocals.
Right. Maybe
it was a bad Doug Pinnick night.
Was it a bad night or a bad mix?
No, the mix wasn't bad, and Ty Tabor and everybody was playing really well. But it was a bad night for Doug.
Check a bootleg out of that tour.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
And then you can probably find out.
Might have to do that.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's good. I needed to get those out of the way. So those were great emails. Appreciate them.
I got another email actually, and I found this personally exciting because sometimes you get somebody who sends you an email with like a little piece of information that is just so right up your alley and just so custom made for you that I've read this.
Juicy.
I got this juicy email and I was just seething with vital hormonal secretions, ready to get on the air and give you my take on this. And this was from Fleabag.
Was that your way of saying you were ejaculating?
I'm just saying I'm excited.
With vital... You want to?
I was seething with vital hormonal secretions.
So were you ejaculating?
It's something like that.
Okay.
I was wetting my pants.
You just have to remember, I have to, you have to break things down for me like a third grader.
It's like a friendly, but not as messy.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Fleabag sent this email and he said, "Hey, Brad and Joe, last week I was visiting the Lake District in the UK, and I came across some good trivia, which I'm sure Joe will already know about. We visited Lake Coniston, which was the site of the ill-fated water speed record by Donald Campbell in the late 60s. I was told that the guys from Marillion were at the lake when the boat was raised from the lake about 10 years ago, and that Steve Hogarth sang at Donald Campbell's funeral. I actually have spoken to, because I'm good friends with the Marillion boys, I've actually spoken to Steve Hogarth about this. And he had a very interesting take on this, which I will share with you. What I do know is that in 1967, Donald Campbell had a test craft, I guess you could call it, called the Bluebird, which he raced across, not raced, but ran across Lake Coniston at 300 miles an hour.
Is it a boat?
It was a boat.
Okay.
It was a speedboat, but it was for the speed record at the time, 1967,
Uh-huh.
and reaching 300 miles an hour on water, the boat disintegrated. Donald was killed instantly.
It disintegrated?
Disintegrated.
How do you reach 300 miles an hour and not like hydroplane?
Well, it hydroplaned first, and then the impact of whatever this fiberglass thing was just exploded.
Got it. Okay.
Donald Campbell's body was not found for 40 years.
Hate when that happens.
Yeah, or thereabouts. And so what happened was back in, I want to say it was 95, 96, Marillion put out the Afraid of Sunlight album.
Right.
And there was a song on there called Out of This World, which if you are at all intrigued by this story, I highly recommend everybody go check out this song, even if it's just on Spotify or YouTube. There's lots of ways you can listen to Out of This World. But a tremendous, really tense kind of song, because it's about some pretty heavy subject matter.
Right.
In fact, the opening line is 300 miles an hour on water. So you know immediately what this thing is going to be about. And sometime a few years after that, a dive team decided that they were going to go down looking for the wreckage and hopefully the remains of Donald Campbell in the lake. And they ended up finding him. The call was made to the Marillion camp because apparently some people on the dive team were Marillion fans and were aware of this whole phenomenon, and that was part of the reason they wanted to go down looking for Donald's body after all this time. They found his remains. They found some of the pieces and remains and wreckage from this boat crash so many years earlier, and they raised him up. The widow and the daughter of Donald Campbell then decided, after all these years, it would be fitting to have some type of service. And in 2001, they decided they were going to have a service, and they asked Steve Hogarth to personally come down and sing Out of This World, not with the full band because that would be a little too bombastic, but to sit on a piano and just himself sing that song for the crowd. Now, this is where it gets a little unusual, but he showed up on the day before the funeral, which was going to be on September 12th. He showed up the day before to do a little sound check in the church where they were going to be having it. And Steve Hogarth is notorious for not drinking. He takes care of the instrument. He doesn't drink, particularly on the night before he has to sing. Even though this was just going to be one song, he takes that very seriously. So immediately following this little sound check, he and some of his buddies or whoever was down there with him, the sound guy or whatever, and some of the people that knew Donald, they went back to the hotel across the street and sat at the hotel bar to grab a little bite to eat, the pub, I guess. And on the TV, they were watching a plane hit a building. And he was watching the outcome of September 11th. Ended up having to have a couple of drinks to settle himself that night.
Yeah.
And broke his own tradition. But the next morning, he had to go sing at Donald Campbell's funeral.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Ian was in here, we talked a little bit about their thing with wasn't it
Death and Water.
Death and Water.
Yeah, it's been a long running theme in Marillion music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Death and Water in their songs.
Yeah, I do remember us having that discussion. Good email. Thank you, Fleabag.
Yes,
for that.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about what you've been up to, because I want to hear about Comic-Con.
Okay.
But let me tell you something really quick.
Sure.
Just before we get into that.
Yeah.
The guy is at it again.
Which guy?
Mike Portnoy.
Oh, what's he at now?
He's at it again.
He's at it again?
Another band.
That's like 6
project.
this month.
Yeah, another project. It just announced yesterday.
Okay.
He is currently engaging in demos with a power trio. And 2 of the 3 members have been disclosed.
2 of the 3.
2 of the 3.
Okay.
One being the obvious, Mike Portnoy.
Right.
The second, John Sykes.
Really?
Cool as that.
All right, so this is going to be his he's got his prog projects, he's got his metal project.
Wait,
this
back up
this
a
could be his
second.
classic rock project.
What's the prog project?
Well, transatlantic.
But those are just side projects, right? See, here's the thing. This is the distinction, and I'll keep this short because I really do want to hear about Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But he said that he's in 2 bands, like legitimately 2 live working bands. Adrenaline Mob is a real band. They're getting a tour. They're opening for Godsmack, right? They're getting a tour, and the whole deal. And this is another like real band. So. And I know he's got the Steve Morris, Neil Morris project, Dave LaRue project. That's supposed to come out sometime this millennium, and but I get the feeling you're probably right. This is the classic rock side of Mike.
This is his Whitesnake project,
but it's a trio, which is even better. I mean, that's pretty great.
I wonder if Mike's going to sing.
No, it's got to be John Sykes.
You think?
Yeah, because I was even reading that when they tour, they're going to do some Blue Murder tunes, which is. I love that Blue Murder record. So
unless the third person, who obviously has to be a bass player, is a singing bass player,
right?
Like a Glenn Hughes or somebody like that. That would be really.
Oh my goodness!
That would really be something. Or Geddy Lee.
He ain't it. Who?
Or Greg Lake.
Yeah,
there you go.
That would be surreal. Yeah. I get the feeling though that this is going to be that.
Or Doug Pinnick.
Could you imagine?
I could.
Yeah,
I could imagine that.
Maybe. I think John Sykes will do the majority of this. That's my guess. John Sykes is going to be the singer in this band.
Okay.
Cool project, though,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I'm intrigued.
That's what he's doing here in L.A. He's been in L.A. the last couple of weeks.
I want to hear all this stuff.
Demoing 12 tracks, he says.
Oh, man.
But they're on. They debuted themselves on Eddie Trunk's That Metal Show, which they taped yesterday. So for the next season of That Metal Show, you'll see those 2 on there. So there you go. But I thought you'd be interested in hearing that since we were chatting.
That's good stuff.
All right, tell me a little bit about Comic-Con.
Well, so Kim and I, as we like to do, we go down to the San Diego Comic-Con, which is, it used to just be about comics, but now it is sort of like the Cannes Film Festival of the West Coast. It is a really big pop culture event down there, and every year it shocks me just how many big names start showing up for this to show off their latest trailer. Or give you some scenes or glimpses behind the next project, or true to form, the comics people are there as well, telling you about upcoming storylines and crossover events in comics. But everybody's down there for this, and so some of the highlights. First of all, one of the main halls, there's a lot of different rooms where there's panels going on, and discussion rooms, and screening rooms, and autograph sections, and there's all kinds of stuff, plus the main floor, which is all the vendors and comics for days and all kinds of merchandise. But there's a big hall, Hall H, which is where a lot of the like the big events go on, and a lot of the big names turn up. And they were going to start off Comic-Con one of the mornings with what was arguably one of the most high-profile things going on, which is the entire cast of Twilight,
right.
Who were down there to show the Breaking Dawn trailer from the upcoming Breaking Dawn.
What's Twilight?
Yeah, exactly. You're not Camp Snoopy, are you?
I'm Camp Blow Me. How's that?
Well, what was interesting was to ensure their best possible spot near Edward Cullen, girls were camped out 3 days in advance for this little event. But their efforts did not go unnoticed, because early that morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning actually, before they even opened up the doors and let people into the hall, the cast of Twilight showed up with coffees and juices and teas and fruits and cereals and walked around the line and gave everybody breakfast. So you could have a little Twilight breakfast for your Breaking Dawn. Yeah.
That's good. I would have been Breaking Wind.
So the Twilight kids were obviously a big deal down there. Then Chris Evans, the new Captain America, was down there to debut the movie.
Right.
And we saw Captain America.
Good.
And it was tremendous.
Yeah?
Yeah, the next in the series of Marvel movies, all culminating in what I've been...
It's the last one.
Yeah, all culminating in what I've been waiting for, which is next year's Avengers movie.
Yeah, the last one. It's exciting.
And it's a really good one. It's a period piece. I won't tell you much about it other than obviously stay until after the credits.
Right.
If you haven't learned that by now, stay until after the credits, because you'll get your first glimpse of what's coming.
Right.
So that was large. For the Lord of the Rings contingent, Peter Jackson was down there to talk about the Hobbit movie, which is about halfway done now. So that shouldn't be too much longer. Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man movie is going to be coming out. They're rebooting this because, they're changing the whole cast and the whole look of the thing.
Well, I think this is a sort of the prequel to the Spider-Mans that we've seen. This is a young Peter Parker, and this is...
Well, it can't be a prequel because the first Spider-Man movie showed the origin.
But this is the origin.
Yeah.
That's what this movie, I believe,
again,
is the whole origin.
Revisited.
Yeah.
But I got to say that Emma Stone, who you've seen in a million things. She was in, what was that, the letter A movie?
The letter A.
Oh God, what was the name of that movie? Kim knows what I'm talking about. It was, anyway, she's been in a million things lately. She's been doing a lot of work. She's going to play Gwen Stacy in the movie,
right?
And she looks spot on like the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were a fan of the comic book, I've never seen somebody look more like what you've seen in print over the years than this. So that should be fun.
I saw the trailer for that. I watched the trailer.
Yeah,
it's really good. Well, he's just kind of funky looking.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, this was funny. They showed the trailer at Comic-Con, and as they typically do in some of these panel situations, they have the opportunity for people to get in line and walk up to a microphone and ask questions of the cast, crew, producers, writers, blah blah blah. And some guy in a Spider-Man suit got up and asked a question. Did you see this? Do you know where this is going?
I'm already embarrassed.
Oh, well, he asked the question and then he took off the mask, and it was Andrew. Who's starring in the new movie?
Oh, that's cute. All right.
Where'd you think that was going?
I just thought there was some freaking nerd dressed as Spider-Man.
Oh, there were lots of those.
I know, who was getting up to the microphone. What kind of spider was it that actually bit Peter Parker? That made him the Spider-Man?
No, but I'll tell you what. Though one of the panels we were in was a Marvel discussion panel, which had nothing to do with the Marvel movies. It was really just, these were the the guys that are buying the comics. And some of the discussion in there was off the charts because the line between...
Did any of them take showers?
You get all kinds. It's not like it's not like you could pigeonhole the Emerson, Lake and Palmer crowd for all looking like overweight bearded men in black T-shirts.
Overweight Beethovens?
Right. No, the comic crowd was all all nationalities, all
Right.
ages, all economic persuasions.
I get you.
You know,
I get you.
but the common thread here was that they've all sort of lost the plot a little bit between what's real and what's fact and what's fiction.
Joe, that's why they dress up in frickin'
Oh,
costumes.
it was amazing, the questions they were asking.
I'm sure it's
the minutia of some of these, and the characters, and getting into the psychology of, well, why did he do this in panel 7 of issue 36? On page 12 instead of doing this, which is what I would have thought was on his mind.
Dude, just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Just pull the trigger.
So there was a lot of the geek contingent were out in full force.
Sure.
But so was the movie contingent, because like if you were a fan of Sin City or Machete, Robert Rodriguez was there to tell you he's got sequels in the works for both of those movies. I'm down for a Sin City.
I knew that there was a sequel coming for Sin City. That I did know.
So that'll be good.
He's doing a Machete one too.
He's doing 2 Machete sequels. One's going to be called Machete Kills, and then the next one after that will be called Machete Kills Again.
It's very creative titles, I'll say that. I didn't see the first one.
It was good. It's intentionally. It's got that sort
campy,
of.
right?
It's got that campy vibe.
Yeah. I got that feel though from the previews and stuff like that.
Tarantino loves that kind of stuff where it's all campy, but intentionally so.
Right.
And some of the dialogue is just absolutely so horrific that you wonder, how did the actor do that with such a straight face?
Well, because it's Danny Trejo.
Yeah,
that's why.
But not just him. It's like Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
At one point in the Machete movie, she's standing up on a car with her fist in the air, addressing a crowd of like illegal aliens, saying, "We didn't cross the law crossed us." Like, how do you say that with a straight face? But it makes the movie that much more enjoyable.
Because you know what you do is you turn around and you ask your accountant if the check cleared,
Cha-ching.
and once they say yes, you can say it with a straight face.
Cha-ching. And probably one of the biggest crowds assembled for the True Blood panel. Boy, this is a pop culture phenomenon right now at Comic-Con and everywhere else. But one of the things that I think I'm going to be looking forward to the most now is two things. One is we saw Jonah Hill, who, by the way, has lost.
He's half the man he used to be.
I don't know if he's lost 100 pounds, but I don't think that would be a far stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I saw a good interview with him. He says he lost around 80 pounds or so.
Unbelievable! I almost wouldn't recognize the guy, but he did a panel. He's going to be the voice of the lead character in an animated series, sort of like the Simpsons, but a lot more raw.
A lot edgier.
A lot edgier. It'll be really interesting to see how this one plays out.
I'm glad he lost the weight to do a voiceover.
I had to do that. But it's called Alan Gregory, and it's going to premiere in October. I want to say Cartoon Network or maybe Adult Swim.
Yeah, that sounds like an Adult Swim.
Maybe Adult Swim. I forget exactly where, but October 30th that debuts. Check this one out, because I don't think I've ever seen an animated thing quite this raw, where even I was going, wow, really?
Right. Oh, good.
Really?
Okay.
This is going to be crossing some boundaries, so
Excellent.
that'll be fun. And the other one that should be really interesting is there's a new Ridley Scott movie in the works. Actually, I think it's just about done now, called Prometheus, which promises to be pretty large. This is going to be a prequel to the Aliens movies. And Charlize Theron is going to be in that. Apparently she's nude in one scene, so there you go, brother man.
There you go. She didn't do much for me.
No?
She was nude in The Devil's Advocate. Remember? With Keanu Reeves?
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. She was
full nude.
Yeah, but she was all covered in like bruises and
But you got full frontal for
I guess
she was
so.
walking through the church, remember?
I forgot she was in that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting she was in that.
Yeah.
It was all about Keanu.
No, stop it. Dude, you're the devil.
Dude, you're the devil. You're my dad, dude.
You're the devil, dude.
Iron Maiden.
San Dimas High football rules.
We just went through Keanu's entire career.
Pretty
right there.
much. The only thing we missed is Dracula.
The only thing we missed is I know karate.
I
know kung fu.
I know kung fu. That's right. Oh yeah, no wait, we forgot Point Break.
What's the line from Point Break?
I am an F FBI agent. There you go.
Oh, we could have fun with this all night.
Yeah.
But
the only thing great about that is he was actually an ex-Ohio State quarterback in that movie.
Ohio State football rules. But a great time at Comic-Con, hanging out with our people, the Marvelites, not so much the geeky ones.
Come on now. Did you get any of the overflow from the Cowboys and Aliens madness that was going on there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was all down there.
And none of them show, because I know they did the premiere down there, but none of those guys came to Comic-Con? Like Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig didn't come actually into the hall or anything?
Not that I was aware of. Although you tend to get a lot of off-schedule appearances. Actually, I don't remember if it was Daniel Craig, but maybe it was. I want to say it was Daniel Craig who made an unannounced appearance on the merch floor.
Daniel Craig?
Yeah, I think it might have been him, and just did a walk around and shook some hands and signed some autographs.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Before you take that, let me just say that we did get a text message clarifying a couple of things.
Okay, good.
Okay, one is Emma Stone, Easy A.
Easy A, that's
Zombieland and the House Bunny. And who could forget the House Bunny?
The House Bunny was pretty good.
Oh, I mean, come on.
But Easy A was great. Check it out. It's
Alan Gregory will be on Fox between The Simpsons and Family Guy.
Okay.
October 30th.
October 30th.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, shall we see who's in the Usman? Hi, hello, and good evening to you.
It's just me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, don't yell. Don't yell at me. Are you mad because I said something bad about Twilight?
No. No, I got over that.
Okay.
I just wish that if you guys are going to talk about movie stuff, include me. Put me on I am something, because Joe never knows.
Wow.
That's fair. That's fair. But for full disclosure here, let's just say that the one time when we had a bet about movie trivia, you ended up losing and having to go to a Rush concert,
which was the greatest night of your life, by the way. The greatest night, because we played laser tag and everything, and it was great.
Yes, I have the T-shirt to prove that I survived the Rush.
Yes, you did.
What was that, Snakes and Arrows tour?
No, it was Test for Echo.
That's right.
Remember, you got 2112.
That's right.
You heard 2112 in its entirety, or almost did, because you were in the lobby.
Right.
Yeah, with a total 2112 nerd.
Anything I left out from the Comic-Con recap that is worth mentioning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Starship Showdown.
Starship Smackdown. Yeah.
Tell me.
She's right. Tell them about it.
Oh, my God. How did you ignore that?
You're right.
It was the greatest moment of all geekdom. And you also didn't really elaborate on the Marvel panel.
Okay, tell me about the Marvel panel.
Okay, so backing up into the Marvel panel, we were surrounded by geeks. It was one of the only times that I was annoyed by the person sitting next to me, because it was two chicks who looked like total nerds who had no life, who wouldn't shut up, and were actually there for the DC panel that was 2 hours later.
Fuckers.
Which was completely annoying, because it's like, yeah, great, DC, dead.
Okay.
So the Marvel panel was really cool, because they not only went over the Avengers recap for what they're doing now. Joey, refresh my memory. What was the name of the series?
Fear Itself is the story. The name of the storyline.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they led into the artwork for the next version of the Avengers and the follow-up series. And it's all about the artwork. And I actually took a photo on my phone of the artwork, and I've still got to compare it with Marvel's site to see what the differences are, because they're going to reveal something in the photo that's going to be posted on the site.
Is this comic or movie?
This is comic.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay.
So it was really great. Plus, they also revealed the Defenders.
Wow, nice.
Which is the next generation of what goes on with the Avengers as well.
Right.
Kind of, a regrouping of that. But then we went to the Starship Smackdown.
Yes. This is the culminating event of Comic-Con, and truly the pinnacle of geekdom.
The Doug pinnacle of geekdom.
Yes.
It was truly insane and one of the greatest moments of our life. And God bless Joey, he did put his arm up and tried to get the Millennium Falcon. But what they do is they basically, the panel is made up of the ultimate nerd guys that we want to hang out with.
Yeah, these are the sci-fi screenwriters, the tech guys behind the scenes, and
the guys who work on the ships and not only do CGI on the ships, but actually help develop the ships. Those guys that are moving the ships around.
Got it.
And doing the wonderful things that they do, and adding new blasters and new rocket technology to them, and just all that great nerdy stuff. So what they do is they basically, each of the guys on the panel, which I think it was 6, get to choose 2 ships that they want to nominate, and then they open the floor to the audience.
Greatest starships in the history of sci-fi.
Okay.
And we're talking, these guys are pulling, like one of the guys on one of the starships that actually made the nomination list to battle it out amongst the panel and the audience was Repo Man's Malibu. Because it does actually, in the end of the film, go off into, space.
So that qualified.
Sure.
So that was alongside.
That's cool.
That was alongside
really
Battlestar Galactica and the Borg ship and the mothership from Close Encounters.
Right.
So they nominate all these potential starships for the all-time greatest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the coolest thing is they actually had the Battlestar Galactica, the old ship and the new ship.
Nice.
Because both of them had, the first one had, the first one only had 13 episodes or whatever. So the ships that made the list were the Draconia, the USS Enterprise was retired as of last year.
They retired the Enterprise.
Nobody can beat it.
Oh, so it's not even in the.
It's not even eligible, but
all the Enterprises.
One of the audience members submitted and got the nomination in for the ISS Enterprise.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and one of my favorite one was the Close Encounters mothership.
Yeah, that was great.
How do you compete with that?
That was great.
Let's see, the Salvage One, the Defiant, Valley Forge, the NSDA Protector from, oh God, why did I just forget it? Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen. Great parody on space films.
Oh, right. What is the name of that?
Not Spaceball.
Free Enterprise? No, not Free Enterprise. Oh, God, what is the name of that?
Movie,
I forgot the name of it, too.
Okay, so the Rebel Blockade Runner,
right.
The Tanith 4, the Searcher, the Conquest, the Moonraker 1.
Who won?
Ended up winning. And what they do is, after the first round, which is where they battle ship against ship, and it can just be random, 2 ships, battling it, and they state their case as to why this one, and then the guys on the panel all vote.
And stating the case is half the fun, because this is where they geek out.
Right, of
it's like us talking about Rush minutia. They start getting into the minutia, and then they introduce.
And then what they do is they open it up and they choose from basically a pot of captains. Who is the captain of those ships? So the last 8 ships that are remaining.
So it could be like the Millennium Falcon with Jean-Luc Picard captaining it.
Oh my goodness!
Or Kirk on the Borg mothership or something.
This is serious nerdism.
Awesome. And then it gets down to the next level after you cancel out those ships, the starships that battle each other. It gets down to naming the technology that is manning that ship.
Like what technology is on board? The HAL 9000, Windows 7,
right?
Well, and I'm trying to think of what one of the bloggers posted. Basically, Word was listed for the Defiant, or was it Nell? One or the other. As the controlling, the power behind. The one that won was Carl Sagan's The Starship of the Imagination from the PBS series that he hosted.
Wow.
And it won because manning that ship was the HAL 9000.
I see.
You can't go wrong with HAL.
That's
wow, that's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you win?
Very entertaining watching them geek out.
It's just the Starship Smackdown of the ultimate Starship for Comic-Con. And this is the 10th anniversary of them doing this.
Of the Starship Smackdown?
Yeah.
I see.
Yes.
So they don't change it around and do something other than a starship. It's always a starship.
But it's always different pairings, and the audience gets to participate in the initial nominations as well. So you could have a whole different list. Like I was surprised Millennium Falcon wasn't even in the running this year, which seems like one of the most famous ships out there.
Well, and plus, but I think that it's fame. I mean, when you started seeing the nominations these guys were making, people started digging deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and naming the Millennium Falcon is just an obvious choice.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
my
true.
favorite, again, was the Close Encounters Mothership.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it was just, if people get a chance, you know, go on. They've got a Facebook page, but you can also go on to the Comic-Con and pull the actual taping of it, because they actually have it up there that you can click on and watch it. It's just an exercise in geekdom at its finest.
Let me ask you a question.
So much fun.
Was anybody dressed up at all in some funny costumes while they were making their case?
No.
No
In
way!
that
Come
room,
on.
It was the serious geeks that haven't taken showers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you wish they were dressed up in some type of costume.
And they've all got bags of tons of crap, you know, that are at their feet and stuff. And and here's the other thing that you don't know about Comic-Con. See, because of the way and the nature of the day, everybody brings in their backpack. And even I admit that, you know, I learned by default in the past, you bring a ton of food. Mm-hmm. They don't. When you walk into Comic-Con, it's the only organized event that supports thousands of people that I've walked into in at least a decade that you don't have a security search. They have a weapons check on level on door E.
You have to check your phasers.
On level D?
If you're going to take your, lightsaber with you, you do have to have a weapons check to make sure. But otherwise, you walk in with your huge, big backpack, and they don't search you. They let you in. And so in my backpack, I've got frozen water bottles as well as, room temperature water because it's a long day. Yeah. And tons of munchies. I've got spoons. I've got yogurt and applesauce and, candy.
It's all about the food with you, isn't it?
This is what we do with Ethan.
Totally.
It's so funny. Whenever we're with Ethan, we do the same thing.
It's totally like that with me. But it's even better with them because literally these guys will have grocery bags. And, they have got grocery bags of food with them. I mean, you see, like chips and fruit and crackers and sandwiches that they bought at the market and, Subway that they picked up the night before. And they've just got, literally 2 bags. The backpack full of all their crap.
And then all the comics that they bought.
Laptop where they're blogging.
I'm calling in a bomb threat next year just to see what happens. I just want to see all the little rats run.
Oh, and Joe, you forgot to also make mention that Reese Ilfans, he was the guy that people will most remember him from, who was the roommate Spike to Hugh Grant's character in Notting Hill. Great off-color character.
Yeah.
He was also what's-her-name's father in the last
in Harry Potter. He was Luna's father.
Right.
He got citizen's arrest by one of the security people there for being drunk and disorderly
on the Comic-Con floor.
What, a citizen's arrest? Who arrested him? Someone dressed like a stormtrooper?
Probably a fan. Probably a Harry Potter fan.
No, it was actually an employed security person there who, isn't, able to
volunteer.
Arrest people, but because he was so drunken and disorderly, she did arrest him.
It's awesome.
And charges, were filed against him, for disorderly conduct. So he was arrested. There was one other great news bite that came out, and I will remember it at some point. But honestly, Comic-Con, our people are there. I mean, when we sat down and it's just you find your people.
You find your people. We walked around at one point. We saw Gollum, actual Gollum, the guy that plays Gollum. We saw him flipping through a rack of comic books.
He's in Planet of the Apes.
Oh, is he?
He was on KTLA Morning News today.
Yeah, he's the main. He's the main ape.
In The Hobbit.
Yeah, he's back in Gollum in the Hobbit. On the Hobbit, but isn't he Caesar in the new Planet of the Apes? Right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
I'm a little nervous about that movie.
How about that?
He talked about all this morning in KTLA, and if I'd seen him quick enough, I would have emailed the booker over there and said, hey, he was at Comic-Con actually in the vendor area shopping, going through old movie posters.
Well, that's cool. That's very cool. No Harrison Ford really sightings on the floor?
No. There were a couple, but like people wouldn't know. You'd have to be kind of, like guys that are... and teenagers that are total characters, character actors at this point.
Wouldn't that place just disintegrate if Harrison Ford just started walking through the floor at Comic-Con?
Well, I think he was there last year with Daniel Craig.
Wasn't he? Aliens and Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, and that was the first time that they actually did a major theatrical trailer release there.
Oh, I see.
And I could swear that they did a screening this year, too.
Yeah, the premiere was in San Diego during Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, that's the first time that Comic-Con has actually had a full-fledged, big-budget full screening, because most of the premieres or screenings that go on there are, kind of geared towards that, and not big movie productions.
They're geared towards the guys that eat yesterday's Subway when they're walking through the hallway.
I'm telling you, though,
it's a good time now. It's a good time.
Good
if
stuff.
I was single, I could do some major damage down there. Oh my goodness!
Whoa,
that might be a topic for a whole nother night.
Whoa.
Honestly,
I'm not even know what to say about
found
that.
our people.
Wow. Would you like?
And a girl like me could really go a long way at a place like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no hot looker, but I'm telling you, I feel like a supermodel half the time.
Yeah, that's a rough. I gotta imagine that's a rough crowd. That's a rough crowd. That's a Rush show 20 years ago.
And the sad thing is, there's a lot of the gals there. They just open their mouths and their brains and their fall out. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, this is a chick that I don't want to hang out with.
Yeah, I understand. Look, I see what of Comic-Con on TV, and there's about 90% of those people I think I'd punch if I spent more than 5 minutes with them.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it can get a little crazy.
Well, you're my supermodel, so I will see you in just a few minutes. We're going to wrap up the show, and then I will be home. So
okay, well, no need to call me. Just grab a gallon of milk. I want a frozen pizza tonight.
Okay.
Anything else?
We're going to start doing the grocery list in the 8 o'clock segment. Okay,
sounds good to me.
Yeah, when you do the film recap, include me.
All right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Julie from the Valley.
Oh, Julie from the Valley.
All right. Thank you, Julie from the Valley.
Of course. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Great show.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, Lord.
How about that? Right. Julie from the Valley.
Julie from the Valley.
Which leads me to a little bit of this. Hey!
You know, this whole Comic-Con thing got me thinking.
What did it get you thinking, Brad?
That if I had a website...
Right.
Okay, because everyone's got one these days.
Everyone's got one.
Right.
I should have one, too.
And let's say I have a business.
Right.
Okay, or maybe I'm in, I don't know, a hot new Avengers movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's possible.
You're a superhero.
Or maybe you just discovered some smoking hot naked photos of Edward Cullen.
Want to take a ride?
If you wanted to share Edward Cullen's naked photos with the world,
right?
Here's your chance. Because thanks to our partnership with GoDaddy.com, it's never been easier to get online and get Edward's balls rolling because they're on his back and we're here to help. So here is the deal or no deal. First, head over to pureRockRadio.net/GoDaddy. Then enter coupon code
POD167
at the time of purchase, and just because you listen to this show, you're going to save
10%
off all things that are cool, and that is very cool. And here's what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to own my own site.
I really want my own website.
But man, I don't know anything about setting up my own webpage. You have no fear, my friends.
I have no fear.
Because it is a piece of cake.
Fear not.
And GoDaddy offers all kinds of free tools. Danny Carey, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, to help you create your own site and get you up. Plus, every time you use coupon code POD167, you'll be supporting Used Bin Radio and our pals at PureRockRadio.net.
Hi, pals.
So, check out the complete list of coupon codes at PureRockRadio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy, and be sure to say hi to Harrison Ford for us.
Yes, exactly.
That's all
we're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
All we're saying is give Harrison a chance.
Give Harrison a chance. All right, well, that was kooky. We got a lot of Comic-Con in there. I should tell you before we get out of here, how are we doing on time? What's the good
we got a few minutes to wind things up.
5 or 6?
We got about 5-6 minutes.
Okay, good enough. I saw Harry Potter this week.
Oh, what'd you think?
Yeah, just
I liked it.
Absolutely loved it. It's everything that movie should have been. It was fantastic. I loved every single second of it, except for probably the last, I'd say 5 minutes. The epilogue.
The epilogue.
And here's the thing. I love epilogues in movies. In fact, I will tell you that the TV show 6 Feet Under, did you ever watch 6 Feet Under?
No.
Was the greatest finale in the history of television because it was like the last part of it was an epilogue.
Oh.
And it was just...
Like The Sopranos.
No, exactly like the Sopranos. But you really
like Bob Newhart. That had the best epilogue.
Yeah, Seinfeld. It tied it up in such a perfect bow where you didn't wonder anything about anybody afterwards.
Right.
So I appreciate when they do these epilogues in these movies. However, I just thought that Harry Potter looked exactly the same, maybe a little fatter. I thought Ron Weasley just looked fat. And the girls looked exactly the same. There was no age. There was no 19 years.
I had read the book, so I knew that was coming, but I was appreciative of the fact that they didn't have older actors, so that the last 5 minutes that you experience the Potter phenomenon is people who you've never seen before.
Agreed, totally. But you can make them look older. You can do a better job of making them look older, and I didn't think they did.
That's fair.
It looked sort of cheesy. I thought they just sort of wussed out, and they tried to give you that. They tried to extend a 30-second moment into 5 minutes, and it wasn't necessary. However, I thought the epilogue was very necessary. It's just not done right.
Do you know that scene was the first thing she had written, J.K. Rowling? When she started writing the series.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she apparently wrote that scene, put it in an envelope, and put it in like her closet somewhere. And
cute.
I could remember even as early as like when the third and fourth books were being released, she had mentioned that the final scene of the final book was already written. But she wouldn't tell anybody, what it was.
Wouldn't that be great if she did?
No.
Oh, come on. It wouldn't have
Spoilers.
Well, let me ask you something. If she had told you the last 5 minutes of that movie before the first movie, would it have made a lick of difference? Absolutely not.
Probably not.
Okay, so they're older and they have kids.
Yeah.
I guess you don't want to know who's married to who. I guess that's the giveaway.
So, but
I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm really bummed out that it's. I'm bummed. We'll do that next week.
Yeah,
we'll hit that next week. Yeah. I'm bummed out that that it's the end. So, and I was so conscious as I was watching the movie, thinking to myself that this is the end. So, a little bummed out about that. And that's that. We should also we should also mention that the reason that it is just Joe and I in here tonight, and it doesn't smell very good at all, is because Rachel, the Metal Warrior Princess, had a birthday, and so she is taking the week off to celebrate her birthday. So, Rachel,
happy birthday, Rachel!
Happy birthday, Rachel!
Happy birthday, Rachel!
To you. And yours. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
To you, happy birthday.
The Metal Warrior Princess of all things evil, sorcery, darkness.
Not the band Darkness.
Not the band Darkness. And we need to add something else. And
sorcery.
Oh, and sorcery. That's right. That's right. Sorcery.
Next week will be witchcraft and wizardry.
Witchcraft and wizardry. Which I think was third period for Hermione.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, although I'm a fan of the dark arts.
The dark arts.
Defending. What is it? The defense against dark arts.
Sure,
that's the best. Come on, if that's not a prog title, I don't know what is. How do you not name your record "The Defense Against the Dark Arts"?
Or at least your concept album.
It's the greatest,
right?
Seriously.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. If bands have been as widely influenced by Lord of the Rings over the years as we've seen, it's just a matter of time before a band comes out of Norway called Slytherin. Right? And their first album will be Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Yeah, but the concept album is called The Sorting Hat.
The Sorting Hat. Yes. Oh, I like it.
My favorite character actually.
The EP will be called That Which Cannot Be Named.
That's right. My favorite character in all of Harry Potter was in the movies for about 30 seconds. Was in the first movie for 30 seconds, and it was not in the last movie, which I was bummed.
Who's that?
Nearly Headless Nick.
Nearly Headless Nick.
That was John Cleese.
That's right.
Yeah, he was Nearly Headless Nick. Why do they call him Nearly Headless Nick? And he pulls his head off. He says, I don't know. And he puts it back on his neck. It's the greatest ever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I would call my band the Defense Against the Dark Arts Band, and my first record would be The Sorting Hat, featuring
I love that.
Yeah, featuring the hit single Nearly Headless Nick.
I like it.
There you go.
I like it. Okay.
Pretty good?
Very nice.
Right.
What else? What else we got here? We got. We should mention that in the upcoming weeks we have a few guests already confirmed. Although I don't know that I know specifically what week
Okay, that's fair.
they're coming.
Who's
We have producer Kevin Shirley coming
right.
in the next couple of weeks, which should
Kevin
be big.
Caveman Shirley.
Kevin Caveman Shirley of everybody's. I was going to say of Dream Theater fame, but of everybody's fame.
This is Journey, the new Journey.
Of course it is. You know how I could tell? Because it sounds like Steve Perry.
I just thought I'd tell you because you haven't heard it yet.
We will also, in the next few weeks, we will have Roy Albertin from Nectar.
Nice!
70s Prague legends Nectar we will have in the bin.
That's awesome.
What else? Greg Hetson?
Yes, he will be
from
back here.
The Circle Jerks and Bad Religion. We're going to get our punk on one night.
And we will reschedule Dave Lewis to get our Zeppelin fix. Yes, to get our Zeppelin fix. He's the editor and creator of the Tight But Loose, which is the only real Led Zeppelin fanzine out there, and this guy is the real deal. So he had to reschedule, so we'll get that taken care of in the next month.
Yes,
or so.
we will. Yes,
Did you read the book?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's pretty epic.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, we'll get into more about that. But for now, I just think we should do a couple of quick thank yous.
Yeah, I could probably get that done for you. Like, I would probably thank Rich from Pure Rock Radio.
Thanks, Rich.
I'd thank Terry Edwards and Max Krasny here at Westwood One.
Thank you, boys.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'll thank Rob Wilson and Chris Stone at usedbin.com.
Nice.
Because usedbin.com rules. Go there, check it out, learn it, live it, love it. Listen to a podcast and share it with all your friends.
That's right. Not on Spotify.
To you, Joe Mama, I would say one thing.
What's that?
Nice to see ya.
And to see ya, nice.
Good night, everybody.
Used Bin Radio. What are you listening to?
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to a live internet broadcast on Pure Rock Radio. At PureRockRadio.net.